2012.
Ronnie the Rat,
Yeah.
Hector from Tijuana, Primal,
We back up in this.
Voltron, I'm your
Y'all
boy,
already
Jimmy
know.
Jams. Synchronicity
Cause
tonight.
I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. You know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. I had to fight my whole life. I could beat you up even if you had 1,000 knives. Even if you had infinity knives, I would punch you up into the air like a kite. I bet you sleep with the night light, cause you're scared of the dark, cause you stink like a fart. Well, I light your fart on fire with my rounds. You think I won't? I do it all the time. I bet I got more money than Jay-Z.
What's up, guys?
Compared to me, Jay-Z is lazy. Plus Beyonce thinks that I'm cute. It's okay, Beyonce, I think you're cute too. I made out with so many girls. I made out with every girl in the world. I might look small, but I'm not. I don't care if you're big, I'll fight you. Well, I do know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stats, I bet you that she calls. Cause I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. I have 400 cars. I have 400 scars and 400 guitars. I have 400 houses. I have 400 mouses and 400 houses. Bet you I can dance better than you. I bet you don't know 2 plus 2. It's 4, it's 4. Now go and shut the door, cause nobody wants to see your face no more. I'm tough as nails, you're slower than a snail. I beat up every single person in jail. I dare you to try and punch me. My face is so hard you'll say, ouch, you crunched me. I fought 2 lions and 1. And I don't even carry a gun, but I never run. But I never run. But I never run. But I never run. You know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. You know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. Froggy Fresh. I already told you we back up in this. 2012 to infinity. Get out of here. Peace.
What's going on, guys? I figured I'd play something, give everybody time to get in the room. What's going on tonight? I'm going to pull us up on some stuff on synchronicity. I just been having crazy things happen over and over that ain't supposed to happen. So we're going to watch some videos on that type of stuff tonight, guys. I had to kick it in with some Froggy Fresh. So hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody had a really good day. I've had a pretty good day, so I hope everybody else did too. Let's see who's in here. Billy Goat, Boom Boom, Michael. Good to see you guys. Hey, let me pull this other video up. We're going to jump right into, I think this is like 7 reasons there's synchronicity. 7 signs. There we go. That's what it is. So let's just jump right into it.
Everything in our life is linked. From the past, to the present and future, every single coincidence or accident we stumble upon is connected. No matter how big or small of a movement is, it is all about synchronicity and interconnectedness. Every action you make creates a ripple in the universe. You unconsciously telegraph your thoughts to others. Synchronicity is the law of unity. We are all linked. There is no separation between you and anyone or anything. We are all connected. There are
That's
no
crazy.
coincidences, no accidents. Every coincidence has a message for you. Whether you feel like you are having a perfect day and everything goes smoothly, or experience a bad period in which a lot of coincidences happen, the universe is sending you a message. People and things happening in an exact.
Okay, everything, guys, you hear this. Everything is not a coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. Now, you got to go hit that like button on my video. There's a reason, right? It ain't just coincidence you got to hit that like button. You got to hit that like button, get us up in rankings so we get new people in the room to chat with. So, see, no coincidence there. So, walk. And if you knew, guys, if you knew, and you probably made it this far into my video and put up with 5 minutes of Froggy Fresh, make sure you walk. Kung Fu Chop that subscribe button, give the video a like, and share us on any social media platform. That's all I asked of you. That's all I want from you.
Exact moment is nothing but synchronicity, and, fortunately, there is a way to accept
Boom
it.
Boom.
Do you know the saying, when the student is ready, the master appears? That is exactly how synchronicity is explained. Whenever you are synchronized with something you truly want, you are more likely to meet that thing, which is why similar people meet accidentally. The thing is, they are tuned into the exact same frequency, and synchronicity does its best to match them. The famous psychologist Carl Jung asked,
You see that, guys? We're all synced together. We're like a big fam here, spider-webbed. Boop, boop. That's what let's see, we're like-minded and we think alike. And it's not by coincidence that this room was started and we all met. This was meant to happen, guys. This is what I've been telling y'all. This is why it's freaking me out. Because all this was meant to happen. Much as I think it wasn't. Remember how I told you that Mandela effect could change your life and things happen? And it's just not coincidence. This stuff was supposed to happen. Everything that's happening is supposed to happen. It's mind-blowing.
actually made a theory about this, after his fallout with Freud. He coined the term synchronicity to explain what he called were meaningful coincidences. That old friend you suddenly ran into after several years? Yeah, that could actually mean something deeper for your life.
Okay, I'm going to pause it and I'm going to share a story. Jimmyjamz story. Because I told this story earlier to one of my buddies. Everybody in my family, I'm the only one that's from Georgia, right? Well, my brother just went to spend his vacation. He's in Georgia now. He left yesterday, and he should be in Georgia. He should be there now. He should be somewhere in Georgia now, my brother. So I was like, that's crazy. Everybody goes to Georgia to visit, and I'm the only one from there, and I don't never go. But these crazy, weird events that are happening and that, like, you can't explain. And I used to think just it was random things. But if you look back at things and you look at things that it hadn't happened and to where you're at now, just look at your past. Let's say this event didn't happen. Where would you be at now? Right? That type of thing. It's just like everything's written out and it's played out, and it's been really messing with my mind a lot.
It's a wink from the universe. The stuff that happens to you might not be meaningless. It's an oddly comforting feeling, knowing that of all the possibilities you just happen to be at the right place at the right time. If you're wondering if you've ever experienced something like this, here are 7 common signs of this phenomenon. 1. You get a call, email, or ran into a person you were just thinking about.
That happens all the time to me. And that's what I was about to tell that story of. Is I was telling my brother that the last time I visited Georgia, I used to go to this little, like it ain't a convenience store, it was like a pharmacy. And we used to live on the top of this hill. And at the bottom of the hill was a little pharmacy. And they had Donkey Kong in there, the video game. And I used to go in there and play it when I was a kid. So I go back in there 25 years later, okay, guys? I ain't been to my hometown in 25 years. I go back. And it was like going back in time for me. Everything looked the same. Everything was pretty much the same. And the little pharmacy that I used to go into when I was a kid was there. So I was like, you know, of course I'm going to have to relive some of my childhood. So I stop at this little pharmacy that I used to spend a lot of time at, drinking soda and playing video games, right? So I walk in this place, and I swear it was like I walked back in time. The same like round cooler thing they had with ice and drinks in it was still there, right? 25 years later. Look, I walked in, I grabbed a drink, just like I used to do when I was a kid, right? Grabbed a drink, and I walked over, and they still had the Donkey Kong machine. I walked over and started playing the Donkey Kong machine. Look, the door to this, now remember, I have not been there in 25 years. Don't know a single soul in Georgia anymore, right? First dude that walks into the store walks right up and goes, "Hey Jimmy, what have you been up to?" And it just totally blew my mind. And I was like, "Hey man, how you doing?" And I was looking, I had no clue in the world of who this guy was. None, right? He goes, "You remember me?" And I was like, "To be honest, dude, I don't know who you are." And he's like, "Man, we used to ride go-karts. I lived across the street from the school." And as soon as he told me, I did remember him, right? I was like, "Oh my God, man, it's nice to see you again." He's like, "Where you been?" I was like, "Man, I've been living in Virginia for like 20 years. He's like, "Well, it's good to see you." And he just walked on like he had seen me yesterday. It was so weird and so strange. Like, how could you? I mean, he knew me as a kid. He knew me exactly as a grown man who I was. They walked, "Hey, Jimmy," like he had seen me yesterday. Just weird, crazy things. Like, what's the odds of me going in that store? What's the odds of the same thing? Like, just crazy.
You may not have seen them in years, but in that moment, here they are. 2. When you find the exact product that could help you tide over a problem, quite by chance. No, we're not talking about what salesmen and brokers say is the right product for you, but something that suddenly jumps out at you. It could be something very small and ordinary, but suddenly something clearly screams out, "Here." This is exactly what you need. 3. When you catch a new movie or TV series and it feels like you're literally watching your own life unfold on screen. You really connect with it because you've been through it. 4. Strangers in the subway suddenly talk and discuss a problem that you've been dealing with in your own life. Without warning, they talk about something you've been thinking about in your own life. 5.
Okay, that happens to me a lot. Everything she's saying, the voice, I've dealt with. Like, that's what I'm talking about. And it's like, it's been getting worse. Like you know how I told y'all guys 6 months ago I didn't know nothing about the Mandela effect? But once I started seeing it, I could just like, boom, 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 they were coming. Well, it's kind of getting like this with this synchronicity stuff. Like, I'll say something, then I'll go somewhere, and it'll be something right on that. It's like, and in the last few days, it's been really, really bad.
Sometimes the universe seems to deliver the exact handyman in the perfect time. You meet a person who has the exact sort of expertise to help you out with something you're struggling with. I remember when I
I'm starting to sound like Tina's mom. "Don't kill yourself, baby girl."
had a severe coding problem with my website, and all of a sudden a guy just appeared on the social media, out of nowhere. 6. Getting a reassuring message out of the blue, but at the right time. Feeling low? What if quite unexpectedly a relative or a friend sends you a message to lift your spirits, without knowing that you need it most in that moment? 7. When you see the numbers 1111, it means your cellular memory store is getting activated. It stimulates your memory in order to remind you of something you have forgotten. Seeing the powerful master number 1111 is a message that you are on the right path and aligned with the greater reality.
Speaking of t-shirts, I need to go pick up the JMTV t-shirts. You said something about t-shirts, that made me think. See? Synchronicity. Synchronicity right there. She said t-shirts, bam. 1111 made me think of something I had forgot, and I forgot to get the t-shirts. Bam. I'm telling you, there's something to it. Alright, let me pull the chat up, see what you guys have been talking about. I got kind of caught up in the robot voice. And I know my rule, guys. I don't usually listen to the robot voice, but that was a video, and I wanted to see the 7 things myself because I've been going through these things. So I just wanted to check it out. I usually wouldn't have listened to a robot voice, but hey, sometimes you break your own rules, right? 7 likes, 9 watching. So that means 2 people are slacking, or we got 2 people on the outside looking in. I could be one of them people. So it might just be one, because I think I do have a page pulled up with a feed in it. So it might be me as one. So it might just be one person that didn't like it. But, you know, maybe they don't like it. You know, you don't got to like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. So I'm going to keep going on this synchronicity stuff, man, because I'm trying to just figure it out myself. So let me pull this next video up that we're going to watch on it.
Today, the average person can create an online business doing what they love and...
Hello. So today I want to talk about something that has been probably one of the biggest mysteries of my life and one of the coolest things of my life: synchronicity. And if you don't know what synchronicity is, Carl Jung, a famous psychologist, defines it as meaningful coincidence. So the first time he saw it in his life, he had a patient in his office talking about a dream. And in this dream, she was given a golden scarab, which is like this little beetle. And she kept talking about this golden scarab in this dream. And as she was recounting this dream, he heard a tapping on the window. And as he walked over to the window, he opened the window and a bug flew in, a very large insect flew in that looked like a golden scarab. He grabbed it, gave it to her, and said, "Here's your golden scarab." What are the
Man, I'm telling you, some things, the odds of like getting struck by lightning like 15 times, or getting eaten by a shark like 10, or some crazy things like that. And there's just so many weird coincidences in this world that I'm starting to believe all kind of weird, crazy stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm losing my mind, guys. I'm losing my mind this time. I'm losing my mind.
Odds of that someone had a dream about something, and then as they're talking about that dream, an insect flies in that looks exactly like that bug. So that sort of stuff happens to me all the time. And it started happening so much that I started writing them all down. And so I have...
That's what I need to do right there. Start writing them down. It's been bam, 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 bam. Like, I don't know. It's like taking the blindfold off and bam, I'm seeing it.
Years worth of synchronicities that have happened because I'm sitting there trying to figure out, okay, what is this? Why is it? Does it have a meaning? What's its purpose? Does it have a purpose? I really don't know.
She should not take her video down because somebody was hating on it. Her video was really funny, and we watched it last night, and she shouldn't take it down because she gets a hater up there that says some crazy stuff, right? She should have just reported that stuff, because that's like bullying people, man. You can't just get up on somebody's page and be hateful. Everybody that gets up here and takes the time to make a video or put some effort into something or do something and try to share their life with the world, and people just want to piss on them people, then you're the sorry person. You know, it's not them. I don't hide from the haters. You just got to outshine the haters. That's you shining, and people don't like you to shine. You know, that's all it is. Shine bright. I would have put 10 more videos up. You know, don't let somebody bring you, because if I would have stopped the first video I made, because I wasn't even really good at making videos, so it wasn't like they were really great videos. I could hate on myself easy, but if I would have just, you know, the first person that said, "Hey, you live in your mama's basement," I probably was my first comment. You know, like, "Get out your mama's basement," you know, or something like that was probably my first comment. I would have never made any more videos. We wouldn't be hanging out, right? So don't let a little bit of hate stop you. Is Tina in the room tonight? I mean, especially Tina, if she is here. I don't know. I ain't really been paying too much attention because I've been ranting. But yeah, don't take your videos down. Put them back up. Share them with the world. There were good videos. Everybody that was in here last night, I laughed. That wasn't me fake laughing. That was real laughing. It was, yeah. See, Tina's here. Yeah, put your videos back up. Hell with them people. Who cares? Who cares what they say? You live your life for you. You don't live your life for them. You know what I'm saying? I like good comments, and I dislike bad comments like anybody else. But I just don't pay no mind to it, man. Just don't. Don't let that stuff get you down, or one person trolling, or, you know, lately a lot of people have been trolling in here and doing stuff, and we're going to figure out a way to shut that down. It's going to stop. It's definitely going to stop, because just can't deal with it, man. It's too many cool people here trying to hang out and have a good time and share their lives with each other. And if we're sharing somebody's life and you're watching a video and you're just pissing on that person, a lot of these people in here are my friends, you know, and once you become my friend, you're my friend. I'm going to shut you down on that shit here coming up. And I know I said I wasn't going to do them things, and, you know, it was going to be free to say whatever you wanted, and this was all that, but nah, shit's changing. It just can't be that. I wish it could. I wish it could be that free flowing and stuff like that. But no, you come in here and you start being mean to people and you start being hateful for no reason, your ass is gone. You know what I'm saying? A subscriber number to me don't mean nothing. If I had 10 subscribers or I had 10 million, you know what I'm saying? You still wouldn't be able to come in my room and be like that. I just can't. I can't allow it. Now, how we're going to go about regulating stuff, we're going to have to figure out as the wrench crew, you know what I'm saying, and as the crew, and then from there we'll handle it accordingly and swiftly, because there's no other way to deal with it. You play around with it and you see what happens, right? So now we'll treat it as a serious matter, and it'll be handled swiftly. But back to synchronicity.
I mean, I have some thoughts, and I want to go over that in this video today.
Shaman Oaks, exploring the rabbit hole.
So I got his book, and on the very first page of the book, it talks about how when he came up with the term synchronicity, he came up with the term synchronicity as he was giving a speech on the I Ching. The I Ching is the tattoo that I have on my arm, that one. So that's weird too, because I got this tattoo and I didn't know about Carl Jung at the time. I didn't know about synchronicity. When things happened to me, I would call it doubles. And that's when, you know, more than one thing happened at a time. So I'd start writing it down. Then one day I found out, hey, synchronicity is a thing. Started researching synchronicity, found out about Carl Jung. Carl Jung was giving a speech on the I Ching when he came up with the term synchronicity. So I was like, that's a synchronistic event right there. One of Carl Jung's favorite quotes.
See, that's pretty damn crazy too. I mean, that's even more, what's the odds of that? You know, just odds. Like when I said something about the KGB agent, what's the chance of that exact same thing being on the news the first time I watched the news in 3 months? You know, it's weird thing. See, I'm going to start writing it down.
Quotes is from The Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll, in which the White Queen says to Alice, "It's a poor sort of memory."
Ever wonder how new Amazon sellers are able to successfully sell their products even though there's already...
Hello. So today I want to talk...
Crap.
That one. So that's weird too, because I got this tattoo and I didn't know about Carl Jung at the time. I didn't know about synchronicity. When things happened to me, I would call it doubles. And that's when, you know, more than one thing happened at a time. So I'd start writing it down. Then one day I found out, hey, synchronicity is a thing. Started researching synchronicity, found out about Carl Jung. Carl Jung was giving a speech on the I Ching when he came up with the term synchronicity. So I was like, that's a synchronistic event right there. One of Carl Jung's favorite quotes is from The Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll, in which the White Queen says to Alice, "It's a poor sort of memory that only works backwards." And I'm getting chills right now just reading that, because this whole channel, if you ever seen the tagline, is exploring the rabbit hole. Like, his favorite quote is the point of this channel. And he came up with the term synchronicity while giving a speech on the I Ching, which I randomly got tattooed on my arm. Like, okay, get it. So I want to talk about some of the really big ones that have happened in my life. So the first major one that I had, I was at a trip to Catalina with my family, just a day trip. It's a small island off the coast of Los Angeles. We took a day trip out there. As we were going around the little town, I see 2 black crows.
Damn, what kind of money does this dude got? I want some money where I can just go spend a day in Catalina. Man, I'm jealous. I had to become a hater.
And I just run up randomly to the crows and go, rah, like just to scare them. And they fly away. And my parents go, why did you do that? And complete bullshit, I just was like, I didn't like the way it was looking at me. He was looking at me funny. And then they're like, what about those birds over there? I'm like, those birds are cool. It was only those crows. I didn't like those crows. And just a really stupid comment that really meant nothing. But the rest of the trip, the rest of the day, my parents we would just kind of joke back and forth about, oh, those birds are looking at you funny, and just stupid stuff like that. Didn't really think much of it. The day passed, we went home, they flew out the next day to go back to Texas, and I get on Facebook. And then I see this picture. Crows can recognize human faces and hold a grudge against the ones they don't like. So I was like, screenshot that, send it to my family. Again, I thought that was just kind of a silly thing. But of course I had to screenshot it, send it to my family going, see, I told you that crow was looking at me funny. But then if you look, image credit, which how often do you see image credits on Facebook? But anyways, image credit Danny Chapman. My last name is Chapman. My parents' last name is Chapman, obviously. So I was like, that's also pretty strange. So there's this girl that I work with, or that I used to work with, and she's also into this sort of stuff. And so whenever weird things happen, we send it to each other, and we're like, hey, look at this. This is crazy. So I send her this. I send her this image. I send her, I write up a little story about the little trip, what happened, blah, blah, blah. So I text her this whole story right as it happens. Immediately she texts me back, and she says, look, I was just texting with my mom. Zoom in on this picture.
Okay, hold on. I gotta give this dude's video a like. Right there, bam.
Zoom in on the picture.
Wait. I don't know why it's playing. It won't let me like it for some reason. Hold on. Let me move this screen for a second. Let me move it over here. Alright, now I should be able to like his video.
Chapman University.
I don't know. It's being a night, but let me subscribe.
So
it won't let me subscribe. That's weird.
The interesting one I had is I was walking down the street and I saw this really unique car, a three-wheeled car, something you don't really see every day, even in Los Angeles. I've maybe seen it one other time. So anyways, I'm walking down the street, coming back from the store, and I see this car, and I was like, that's really interesting. I want to look that up and see how much it costs. And as I'm doing that, as I'm on the website for this car, the same friend, my friend Aaron, texts me and saying, oh, I just had a doubles. Like the two pictures in her camera roll, the two top pictures are two pictures of two girls that she had a relationship with, and they're both tattoo pictures, and they're both similar tattoo pictures. So that similar tattoo picture happened at the exact same moment I'm seeing this car, researching this car. Nothing, that doesn't really mean anything, right? So then my friends, I meet two other friends to go to the movie. We go see Ninja Turtles movie. And so while we're sitting in the movie, if you've seen the movie, you'll know this scene, is there is a big car chase scene. Then suddenly, two of those cars that I was just looking at, the Polaris car, come in. So that's two of the same car that I just saw earlier that day. So that's interesting. I'm like, okay, mental note, remember this to tell Aaron later. Then finish watching the movie, go to a bar, have a few more beers, come back, and at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I go, oh shit, I forgot to tell Erin about how when she sent me that picture, I was looking at this car, and then two of those cars are in this car chase scene in this movie I just watched. So as I text her that whole story about the tattoos and the car, and then I tell her I was watching that movie, she goes, it gets even weirder, I'm writing a pitch right now for a Ninja Turtles movie. Like what are the goddamn odds of that? And the whole reason she took the tattoo picture in the first place is they found out they had gotten the same feather tattoo at the same place. Oh, then as I'm texting her and she's telling me about the Ninja Turtles thing, I turn on Netflix and the top suggested movie is Synchronicity. Okay, I get the point. Doesn't mean anything. So whenever I keep the log of them, I try to think of, okay, what's going on in my life right now when it happens? And I feel that it happens the most when I'm questioning myself or doubting myself. So I take it as, it's usually not giving me an answer.
I wonder if I'm questioning myself or doubting myself. And maybe that's why I'm going through this synchronicity stuff. I don't know. I ain't really been questioning myself. I don't think.
Answer per se. It's usually, I feel like it's telling me, relax, life is happening the way it is, like go with the flow. Just experience life and don't worry so much. This stuff can't happen by chance. I mean, I guess it can happen by chance. The scientific explanation for this is called the law of really big numbers, meaning the world is so big and there's so many things that happen to you in a day that the chances of something happening that's tied to something else, the odds are it's gonna happen. But how they happen also with someone else, I think that is what makes it ridiculous. The same friend, my friend Aaron, actually has a jewelry side business if you guys are interested in that. I always want to help my friends if I can. So if you're interested in that, please check out her store. Really cool stuff. So I think that's pretty much it for this one.
Boom Boom also does the same thing, so y'all go check out her store. See, I like to plug my friends too. See, that was synchronicity, wasn't it? See, there was some synchronicity right there. While we're doing the show. So let me pull us up another crazy video on the same. I'm going to keep it on the same topic. I just want to show you how much of this there is going on. So, give me a second. Give me 1 second, guys. I was looking for something really good on that topic. And for some reason, my computer's running really slow. Are y'all having any problems with the stream? Is everything going good for you guys? Can you hear everything good? Are the videos loud? What I need some little bit of feedback. Be good. Okay, what is going on with my computer? Alright, hold on, let me blow this up, guys. Refresh this. Okay, here we go. Now I'm back in business.
There's a pencil, right? That's all I need is a pencil, a little piece of paper.
Greetings, friends of the universe. Today I'm going to explain you everything you need to know about synchronicities in life, and at the end, I'm going to give you 5 steps you can take to open yourself and attract synchronistic events into your life to help you prosper and reach faster the final destination of your spiritual path. A synchronicity for someone on the spiritual path is that moment in the fabric of time when we suddenly and briefly become consciously aware that we have made a deeper connection with the universe or that which is greater than our individual self. Those not familiar with the concept of synchronicity would most likely pass off these moments as mere coincidence. The theory was first presented by the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung. He proposed the idea that when multiple, meaningful occurrences happen, it is not coincidence.
Alright, nothing's coincidence, guys. It's not coincidence. You found this channel. No way it's coincidence. So, if you're new, make sure you Kung Fu Chop that subscribe button. Give this video a like. And share us on social media, guys. You know, your Facebooks, your Twitters, and your Instagrams, and your, you can share us on your, Twitters. I said that right. Your, what about you can share us on Plenty of Fish. You can share us on uglypeoplemeet.com, even alashingbushpeople.com. We don't care. Just share it everywhere.
But a type of psychological and spiritual experience intended to guide your soul force into motion. A synchronicity is designed to give us a push in a general direction. in what direction, may not be initially revealed, but with a trusting connection to our intuition, the path can sometimes be obvious, but it is up to us, as individuals, to make the decision to follow. Synchronicities are responsible for bringing people and events into our lives, seemingly at just the right time. This is why they are considered by many to be nothing more than coincidence. However, there is no such thing as coincidence.
See, I tell you guys, this was no coincidence y'all found Jams TV. This was meant to happen, right? I was meant to discover the Mandela effect. I was meant to make the YouTube channel. I was meant to make the chat. Boom, it was all meant to happen for some crazy reason. Now, I don't know the reason yet, but I'm sure there's a reason.
If you believe in synchronicity, although synchronicity has never been scientifically proven, it certainly doesn't mean it does not exist. Intuition cannot be scientifically proven,
Peter?
neither can many spiritual concepts, but most, if not all people, have at some stage in their lives seen how their intuition has guided them in some way. They may not know how it could have possibly happened, but known for sure that something unexplained scientifically most definitely took place. Synchronicity is like gravity in a way. You can't see it, but it is definitely there.
Hold on. I don't agree with that. Gravity's definitely there. I don't know, guys. Gravity might not definitely be there. Might be buoyancy, right? But I agree with the synchronicity. There's some synchronicity going on, like majorly. Now the gravity thing, well, we're a little shaky on that one.
And the more you open yourself to becoming aware of synchronicities as they appear in your life, the more of them you will notice. Carl Jung believed, as many others do today, that you are responsible for your own synchronicities. Your habitual thoughts, on both a conscious and subconscious level, combined with your day-to-day actions, cause you to manifest synchronicities into your life in a manner directly related to the law of attraction.
I think that's what it is.
Subconsciously, you know what you want, and through your subconscious beliefs, you attract events or synchronicities, which if followed, will lead you to places where you will learn the important life lessons you.
Okay. Here's the thing. The other day I've been starting talking about, I want that Corvette, right? So I go online, Facebook, and my homeboy's selling a Corvette. So I'm like, that's just crazy. I mean, I didn't think nothing of it then. I just, but I started noting all these other stuff that's all synced together, and it was just kind of fit right into it. So. But I did see a 1974 Stingray today that was super, super nice. And it was the color I wanted. But I don't want that year. But it was so beautiful.
Need for your journey. It is important to remember that not all synchronicities will lead you to a place that you consciously want to be. However, by following those synchronicities, you learn new lessons that are beneficial to you in the long run, although at first, it may seem you have made an unwise move. What sets these mysterious happenings apart is that they are always unplanned and unexpected. A blind date that leads to life partnership. An unexpected phone call that pulls us away from tragedy. A job opportunity that...
If you want money, you got to get around people that got money. That's how you get money. And I should charge you for that information, but I'm going to give it to you for free. You want money, get around people that got money. And you'll get money.
That suddenly opens. A gift of money when we need it most. A dream that turns out to be true. An unexpected admissions to a college we never thought would happen.
But money can't buy you happiness, guys. You see a lot of rich people, a lot of famous people. They be killing themselves, right? Got plenty of money. Money can't make you happy. And I'm sure money does cause a lot of problems. Because if you got a lot of money, people are going to want stuff from you they never wanted from you before. Because you can help people. And there's going to be more people than you can help. And that's where the problems come in.
These are just a few examples. These happenings can occur on a large, medium, or small scale. I like to think of the large ones as events which have a major.
Plus, I think when you work for stuff and you spend a lot of time trying to get it, when you get it, you appreciate it a lot more than when everything's just handed to you. If you're just so rich that everything's just constantly handed to you, you don't really appreciate nothing no more, because you didn't really earn nothing no more, you know. I think when you struggle to get things, them are the things you hold the tightest because you worked the hardest for. So money ain't everything, and it really can't buy you happiness. It could help you out though when you're bad financially. I mean, it's good for that. But as far as happiness, nothing can make you happy but yourself. The only thing that can upset you really is yourself, and the only thing that can make you happy is yourself. I learned that from Will Smith. That's a smart dude. He's crazy as hell sometimes, but he does say some smart stuff. It's that whole Illuminati.
Impact on our lives. This can be a long-term relationship with someone, a crippling accident that leads to a lifetime challenge, an unexpected book from a friend that opens up a life-changing spiritual quest for us. The medium synchronous events are more for course corrections that lead us to the major ones or help the major ones unfold smoothly and successfully. For example, an unexpected salary bonus that allows us to take a vacation, medium event, during which we find a lifetime partner, major event. The small events are more for fine-tuning the whole process and are also very important.
I can say, you know, there's days that I've been broke and been happier than days that I've had pockets full of money. So, but there's days I've had pocket full of money that I've been really happy too. So it you know, it is what it is. It don't matter really what you got in life anyway. It's who you are. It ain't what you got. You know, if you're a good person, you're wealthy already.
Seriously, these unexpected gifts of guidance, often dropping out of the universe to influence our thoughts or impact the direction that our lives may take when we least expect them. Whenever this happens, our free will is never violated in the process. While in body, we always have the choice to react to these events, regardless of size. Nothing happens by accident in the universe or in our lives. Therefore, there is no such thing as a coincidence. Prior to coming to this planet, we create a life plan. That plan is made with free will. Nobody forces it on it.
Yeah, it's like, you know, if you go, you know, if you want to be strong, you need to go through things that'll give you strength. You ever heard that? It's kind of a weird one, but, you know. Anyway.
Yes.
Off topic.
Our life plan is made after we review our previous lives and experiences. The more evolved we are, the more our life plan centers around spiritual growth and service to others.
Yeah, that's where the trolls belong, under bridges, collecting gold to cross. What don't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah, I guess. Or sore. What don't kill you makes you sore. My back. It ain't making me no stronger.
We may want to learn patience, forgiveness, compassion during our next life. Or we may want to experience being blind, poor, rich, etc.
That's what I'm trying to
Our guardian angels and spirit guides know our plan. Synchronous events often come when we least expect them. That's what makes them synchronous. It is also possible to overrule parts or all of our plan while on Earth. However, overruling our original plan is not the wisest choice. It creates confusion in our lives. Certain events will occur in our lives when we planned for them to happen. While in body, we are constantly making choices and creating our reality. This too is done with free will. And yet, there is something going on in the background of life.
Today, the average person can create.
Alright, let me do this real quick, guys. I'm trying to skip these commercials. So that way we ain't playing no commercials or nothing like that on YouTube.
On in the background of life. This something provides the guidance we need for our plan to unfold. This influence is happening at a higher level and for good purpose. That purpose is to keep us on course as it relates to our earthly plan. Another purpose is to provide us ongoing guidance in our lives. Many events also make us happy, such as finding past lifetime friends. If we ask Spirit and our angels for guidance, the help will surely come. We need to learn how to listen for guidance. Pay special attention to any event or clue that happens 3 or more times. Look for patterns and repeated themes within the event. Oftentimes, the messages we receive are symbolic, and we need to decipher them. If things fall into place, as if by magic, most likely you're on the right path. If you meet resistance or dead ends, reconsider the choice you have made.
Maybe I'm going through this because I'm on the right path, guys. Everybody's been trying to tell me, like, even with the YouTube, they're like, dude, you're finding your niche at it. You're getting good at it. You're like, you enjoy doing it. Maybe I'm just on the right path. And that's why everything's syncing up for me. Because, like I said, I ain't like, you know, I ain't, like the last person, maybe you're questioning yourself or something like that. I ain't really been doing that. I just been going with the flow, like every day, just flowing. Like be like water, you know. No planning, nothing, no, you know, just flowing through life, right? And I think maybe everything is maybe starting to sync up. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm on the right path. I'm hoping so anyway. You know, I preach every day. Try to be a little bit better than you were yesterday. I try to say that in every video too, but I don't. But always, guys, try to be a little bit better person than you were yesterday, even if it's just a tiny, tiny bit.
But in my experience, I believe most synchronicities, if followed intuitively, tend to improve your position in life sooner rather than later. Synchronicities are happening for most people on a daily basis, but most of us are so tuned into our problems and worried about the past or the future that we don't recognize the synchronicities when they appear. Synchronicities are not only related to the law of attraction, they are also directly linked with the law of vibration. Each individual vibrates at a certain level. The more positive and happy the person, the higher their level of vibration. Negative, unhappy, or angry people usually reside on a lower vibrational frequency.
All right, guys. Everybody in my room, we got to keep that frequency high. Mine's high all the time anyway. You know what I'm saying? Mine's on another level. I'm on that medical frequency.
With a positive outlook and an open mind, your higher rate of vibration serves to manifest positive opportunities or synchronicities much faster than those vibrating on the lower frequencies.
That's what it is, dude.
Not all synchronicities are going to lead to a change that will transform your life. Often, they are just a guide or like a warning that
my life's already been changed, right? I wasn't a YouTuber. The Mandela effect got me into it, synced me into it. So, it's, I don't know, it's weird. Like I said, I've been seeing them every day, synchronicities every day, for like the last week.
To keep you on the right path and stop you from wandering into the abyss through a lack of focus. Dreams and premonitions, which precede a synchronistic occurrence, are
if you start vibrating too fast, call more dudes.
Usually positive examples of when you should take notice and follow them intuitively. At the moment a synchronicity occurs, it is like the merging of a person's subjective and objective realities, or in other words, when what had previously only been seen from inside your mind's eye actually appears on the outside, or in your physical reality. Albert Einstein discovered with the law of relativity that every single thing in the universe is made of energy, vibrating at different rates. The more dense the matter, the slower the vibration. He equated, and it has been proven scientifically, that if everything in the universe is made up of energy, everything must in some way be connected. Synchronicity reveals how we are intrinsically connected to our seemingly dense material world through.
See, guys, we ain't just family here. We are connected. Right? I told you. You didn't coincidentally find this channel. It was meant to happen for you. We were meant to meet, guys. All of us. Right here. Boom, boom, boom. This friendship, for some reason, was meant to happen.
Through our conscious and subconscious thought patterns. Our thoughts control our reality, and the collective consciousness, which we are all part of, is like an organizing principle that brings us together through synchronistic experiences which help us all to evolve on both our physical and spiritual journey through eternity. The bottom line here is to keep an eye on a daily basis for even the tiniest of coincidences, and know that what may seem insignificant at first glance could be a wonderful opportunity just waiting for you to take action. It could be the synchronicity that leads you to the place you've always wanted to be. So maybe dreams really do come true. Here are the 5 steps for success told by Shane Crider and his story.
Okay, Michael said, the first time I saw you, Jimmy, you was listening to Bob Marley CDs live and didn't even know it. Okay, I was listening to Bob Marley CDs. I like Bob Marley. Y'all, I got a big poster. Y'all see the big picture of Bob? It's actually behind me, but the camera I don't think hits it. But right beside that's a big thing of Bob Marley on my wall. I like all types of music, man. Metal, reggae, rap, shit. I was listening to polka the other day. My buddy came in, he said, man, are you listening to polka music? I was like, well, yeah, I was listening to people play banjos at first, but for somehow, you know how YouTube likes to jump through things? It was playing polka music, and I was just doing other things, so I just never turned it off, and it was been playing for like, for a while. He was like, man, I feel like I'm at Busch Gardens or something. He was like, could you turn the shit off? I was like, yeah, I'll turn it off.
Of attracting and following his life synchronicity.
Boom Boom said she farts rainbows. I hear you. What about the leprechaun at the end? Do you fart him too?
My name is Shane Crider, and the first step is forming a clear intention. Become absolutely clear of your goal. Be as specific as possible. Write it down. Visualize it. Give as much detail as possible. When I first did this step, my motivation was 100% financial. I decided I wanted to be wealthy, but more specifically, I wanted to earn $50,000 per month. When I was a time poor, grumpy, financially challenged.
Oh yeah, you're right. I took that video down, Michael. I was sitting here. I didn't know I was live. You're right. I have went live and not know I was live. Good thing I wasn't like digging in my nose or nothing. I went back and watched the video to make sure I didn't do nothing. You know, like, I don't know. I don't do nothing crazy anyway, but I was, yeah, I didn't realize I was doing that. And yeah, I don't do those things on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I don't promote any of that. You know what I'm saying? I smoke cigarillos.
Mechanic, the idea of earning $50,000 per month was beyond my reality. It's so easy and normal to think in terms of your life so far when you set an intention. We think incrementally. Here,
yeah, that's a good one to tune into the first time. I don't even know I'm on YouTube live. Right? Yeah, that's a good one to catch the first time. I'll remember that one. I'm hoping you're the only person that's seen that video, you know. But it was just me sitting here. I was just sitting here, you know, I wasn't doing nothing too crazy. And somebody said something or something, typed something. I was like, what the hell is that? And I was like, am I live? So it happens. I did a couple private ones earlier when I was setting up the chat. See how the chat's in here now? What about the layout, guys? What do y'all think? Is that a little bit better? I got like the 3 setup plan going on here. Let me show you. Well, y'all should have done seen it by now, but where it's just me with the writing. Then I got our chat where I can look at it. Hey, chat room, how you doing? See what y'all saying over here, right? And then I got our video jank with the skulls. I ain't added nothing yet, like the number or like anything on it yet. I'm just still working with the layout. I might change it up a little bit. I don't know. What do y'all guys think about that?
Here is my story. I'm a mechanic, so to improve my situation, I first think to find a higher paid mechanic's job, or a job within the general field, like a car salesman. It's easy to set goals within your current reality. But really, what I wanted was to earn $50,000 per month, and that was not going to happen while I was under, or selling any car. Not even a BMW, another job I did not get. This can mess with your mindset. I really wanted that financial success. Then I had some customers who...
What was that quote? The only people that catch their dreams are the people that chase them. Right? If you don't chase your dreams, you're not going to catch them. So if you sit around and dream, but don't chase your dreams, all it is a dream. But if you the person that has a dream and you back that dream up and you chase it and chase it and chase it and don't give up, you will eventually run that dream down. And you can, like I said, little things in life, events in life change people's life every day. Some people press through them things and keep it moving. Like my buddy told me one day, he said, man, stuff that would just drive me crazy and bring me so down, Jimmy, like, you know, like when my house burnt down and I went to jail and lost my car and all them crazy things happened to me. I didn't take it super bad because I think everything in life is replaceable kind of. And sometimes people say that's a bad thing because, you know, then I don't really cherish nothing like that. I don't hold nothing like, it's just a car to me. It's just a house. It's just, you know, it's just that. I can't, when I leave here, I can't take none of this shit with me. You know what I'm saying? So it really, it only holds that value to me. It's just a roof over my head. It's no more than that. To me, if I lived in a small dump or if I lived in a big mansion, I'm still the same person. And I'll always be the same person.
Those cars I was working on, and they were achieving that level of financial success. Not just that, they were earning the exact amount of money that I thought was out of my reality, $50,000 per month. The avenues they were taking were not up my alley, but it kept my dream alive. It refocused my intention. If they can do it, I can do it as well. And just thinking like that opened me up to a chain of synchronistic events that brought me that $50,000 per month. In fact, those coincidences had already started. Just by meeting 3 separate...
See, I don't even want nothing like that. I ain't even on that path to $50,000 a month. I couldn't even imagine it. I think, wow, $50,000 a month. It's too much of a life changer for me. Like, I would lose control with that much money. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I've gotten a little older and I control myself a little better, but sometimes I go a little hard in the paint still. And I think with that type of money, I would go extremely hard, and that sometimes could be a bad thing. And I don't know. Some people say a lot of money's a curse. I just need enough money to survive and be a happy person. I don't need nothing crazy like that. Because I think I would lose control. Even though I say I wouldn't, I honestly know I would. That money would bring all kinds of problems for me. All kinds of problems.
Men who shared their success stories with me, who all earned exactly $50,000. My intention remained clear. I didn't know how, or when, I just stayed firm in the belief that if they can do it, I can do it as well. Your only limit is your imagination. You have to accept that your life can...
Iron Chef.
Imagination. You have to accept that your life can change for the better. No limits. You don't need to know how, at this point. The next step is to stop resisting outcomes in your life. You set the clear intention. What happens next? Here's what could happen. You start down the road towards your dream destination, but then the what ifs drift
Josh?
in. It's a self-survival tool.
Josh, we just up in here chatting like always, watching stuff on synchronicity, because I've been experiencing all these things in life that have kind of been syncing together. So I just pulled up some synchronicity stuff tonight, and we've kind of been running with that. But we've been staying on topic, which is unusual. But yeah, that's what we're doing.
The power of the mind starts to guard against negative outcomes. It's self-protection. You must resist. When something happens to take you off track, it makes you think you can't achieve the goal. You give up a little bit of hope on that clear intention. You're no longer suspending disbelief of your pie-in-the-sky ideal, and you slip back into your linear reality. This can happen easily during a conversation with a friend or family member, just trying to protect you. You've got to keep suspending the belief. The synchronistic events will follow. Back to the broke mechanic. I'm at that crossroad.
Alright. One thing I was thinking, guys, that's going to help, and y'all are already starting to do it, to help stop the trolling, is add to Jam's Facebook, and everybody have at least a Facebook or something, so we can see that you're a real person when you come in the room, and you're not like somebody that's just made a dummy name and came in here to mess with people or leave hateful messages on other people's page. So I don't know about right now, but at least coming up soon, we're gonna do that. Like when people come in the room, we're gonna want to check out your Facebook page. Just make sure you're a real person and you ain't coming in here with no crazy stuff. You know that you're just not a troll, a dummy page, like somebody just made an account to come in here and harass people or say mean things or stuff like that.
Knowing something has to change, grease all over my hands, but I still believe that it will. I'm resisting all those that could, or would, stop me. My friend,
Well, see, we know we're going to run into that problem, and you've been coming around a while and ain't trolling nobody, so it's just the basic for new people. Like, some of the guys, we know you. You've been around a while, and we're just trying to keep the hatefulness down, and like deleting whoever left the comments on Tina's page about, I didn't see it, but somebody told me something about take that rope and hang yourself with it or something like that. That is so uncalled for, like totally. And if you're somebody that's in this room and you cool with us and you're doing stuff like that, that's just like, you really ain't our friend and you really ain't cool with us. And that's even worse, right? Because everybody here is usually pretty respectful to everybody, and we're all pretty friendly, and we get along, and we've been hanging out for a while now. So nobody that should come in my room and I play a video should go to them videos and say anything mean or hateful, especially if I showed it. I don't show people's video for them to be targeted because you're a troll in my channel. Now, if she would have posted that video and I never showed it on my channel, would somebody have just randomly went to her page and left a comment like that? I don't think so. They only did that because it was showed here. and then they chose to do that, and that's terrible, terrible, terrible. And I preach in here all the time to be a good person, to try to be a better person. And if you're doing things like that, and you're watching this, because maybe you're one somebody that hangs out with us every day, that's something you might need to work on, and that's something you can do to be a better person. Stop doing shit like that, because it ain't cool.
Asks me to go to this meeting, which I had previously declined, as it sounded like a far out beyond reach opportunity. But with my new shift in mindset, I thought, what have I got to lose? I said I was going to open my mind to...
Hey, speaking of synchronicity, we all sync up at 420.
new opportunities, so I went. 6 months later, I'm making $50,000 per month, working for myself. The third step is to be playful with your perceptions. To follow the opportunity my friend introduced me to, I had to find extra time and extra cash, of which I had none. So I got creative.
Yeah, we're a big happy family here. We're like the Barney channel. This is for a place for like-minded people. And if you come in here and you don't like it, you know, we don't got no problem with it. I know everybody's not going to like what I do or stuff like that, or you don't like the people that's in here. There's a lot of channels, there's a lot of other places, and you can just jump around and you're like free. But don't attack nobody or anything like that. That was like my main rule, right? Don't attack nobody in the room, and no racism or homophobic stuff, and everything's good, you know. And it's gotten to where like there got to be rules and shit, and I don't know. I don't like rules, but I don't do stuff terrible, so I don't need a set of rules, because I live by the be a good person rule, and if you follow that rule, there's really, you know, I don't know. People are crazy, and they get bored, and I think people do stuff to entertain themselves, and that's why I never get bad at people. People do different things to entertain themselves, you know, like the prank calling and all that stuff. People do stuff to entertain themselves, but, you know, don't be hateful. There's a lot of things, ways to entertain yourself. Get some Ninja Turtles or G.I. Joes. I like G.I. Joes.
And cashed in some holiday time. I thought, okay, I've got 2 weeks to make this opportunity succeed, and if all goes well, I'm not coming back to work. I told a colleague. He told the boss, and I got fired. Now, this could have set me back.
Yes, Happy, you are definitely an edgy one that comes in here, but we're used to you. You know what I'm saying? We're used to your edginess. You know what I'm saying? I'm used to it. It's like, you know, I said that you could poke fun at each other a little tiny bit. You just can't right hook each other and stuff like that. Like the comment, whoever left a comment on a page, that's a low blow thing there. That ain't picking on somebody or joking with them in a chat room. That's being hateful. And joking and being hateful, there's two different things. You know, I joke with everybody and I pick on y'all and stuff like that, but I'm not hateful, and I wouldn't go to your page and wish nothing hateful to you or wish something bad on you. That's just not right. And that's stuff, you know, that if you did it, then, you know, that's just something to work on, man, you know, or woman or whoever. Just work on it a little bit. And, like, that's part of becoming a better person. And maybe it's, you know, it's little steps to get to that big step, but just start taking little ones every day, a little bit.
I had a house, family, and bills to pay. But I thought, what if this was supposed to happen? What if I'm supposed to go down this path? I really wanted to follow through on it. So instead of being grim and wallowing in events and situation, I stood by my decision to follow through. I was excited. I was smiling for the first time in a long time, and I decided to be a bit playful with my perception of these events.
Josh, your dad was right. There's no rules in fighting. Definitely not. There's no rules in fight. When somebody's trying to hurt you, there ain't no rules. You know, like, I watch people fight on, like, World Star, and they'd be like, Don't fight on the ground. Y'all stand up. Stand them up. Stand them up. Nah, man, it's a fight. Fight. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no rules in fighting. You got to stand up and fight. You fight anywhere you fight. If I hit you with a brick, you get hit with a brick. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no rule to what happens. You know, if I bite you in the face, you get bit in the face. It's just what rule is it says I can't bite your nose off your face? There ain't a rule that says you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? There's no rules in fighting. And there's no such thing as a clean fight. Because if you're fighting, it's already a dirty situation.
Vents. I was all in, but fully prepared to take responsibility if it was a total failure.
OG said it took me 3 days to find you. I'm glad you put up the effort, man. I hope the search was worth it. But thank you, man. Thank you. I've been meaning to go through, guys, and I think somebody's talking about me. My nose keeps itching. And send links to everybody. Hey, here's the new thing. Here's the new thing. And I still got to write a couple people. I've been slacking, guys, and I'm sorry. I had a bunch of stuff going on today with my daughter because she got this big birthday party coming up because she's turning 18. And I had to go pay the bands and stuff today. So I was taking care of a bunch of running and stuff. So I still ain't got back to emailing Jason or the Lori lady yet. And I'll do it tonight. I guarantee you I'll do it tonight. So there's a few things on my list that I need to do still. But I did see her message on Jams TV too. I haven't really been replying back to the Jams, this site, which is I need to do. I've been hitting everybody back on the Jams 1 site, well, just regular Jams TV, but I haven't replied back to the comments on Jams TV 2 yet, which I probably need to do that because I see she left a comment. So I'm not for sure if I commented her back, but I am going to email her tonight and check out some of her stuff before I talk to her. I like, you know, at least to know who I'm talking to. So and what she talks about. So when I talk to her, you know, if she's going to come up here and we're going to do a show with her, I like to know a little more about her, check into her a little bit. I'm pretty sure I know who she is, right? I'm pretty positive I know who she is. And I've seen some of her stuff. I just got to see her to make sure that's who she is. So I'm going to contact her back, but I'm pretty sure who it is.
And was humble enough to realize that may mean going all the way back to the beginning. Under a
I always liked Jim Cornette.
Car, in someone else's garage. But for now, I was seeing it as something that was meant to be. Something that was leading me somewhere. Synchronous.
It's good to see that the numbers are starting to climb back up there again and people are starting to find us. Maybe I do need to go through, like I said, Jams TV and plug it a little bit better. Put the address on the screen, all that good stuff so more people find the live show. We're here for what? Probably another 75 days or something like that. I don't know. I ain't kept count. It ain't been that long, though. I know it's been over a week. So we at least killed a week of it before we get our home back. We can go back to the castle.
City was playing out in front of me, and I was following it. The next step is to trust your snap judgment. You have to start trusting in your gut.
How did I know about the comments? Oh, because I'm psychic. I got these weird abilities, people. I keep telling y'all. Nobody believes me. I ain't lying about nothing else. I keep telling y'all I'm psychic. And I'm going to do some psychic readings from the Edward Casey Center. Y'all better get in on it. It's $5. I've been telling y'all. And I'm going to do it right from the Edward Casey Center live. I'm going to channel them in. And I'm telling you, it's going to be the best $5 you ever spent in your life.
Your intuition, which result in snap judgments. Those initial instincts that set you on this path were present for a reason. As I was learning this new business opportunity and making
Michael, as soon as I get my $5, I'll let you know how many fingers you got. This is what I got to see first before you get any psychic reading. It's a reading. It's not a 5-finger reading. It's a futuristic reading. It's different. My readings ain't like that. But I'm not wrong. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. And look, before you think Jimmy ain't a psychic, I will bring 2 people that are really close to me up here, and I'll ask them. I say, "Who is the best psychic you know?" And they will tell you me. I guarantee it. And my buddy, like, he believes my psychic ability so bad. When I told him the dream I had about some lottery numbers, he writes them down real fast, runs in the store, and plays them. But I only had 3 of them. I was missing 3. I told him, I said, man, in my dream, I only had 3 of the numbers. But he went and played the 3 I had and made 3 other numbers he didn't hit. But, you know, I did have 3 numbers during these 3 numbers, and it was real vivid dream. It was crazy.
Quick decisions. My snap judgment was being tested all the time. I had to trust that I could do this, even when things weren't going so well. When things start going bad, people have a tendency to say, "It's an omen, get out." I refused to believe it. I backed myself, and the gut feeling, to jump in, with both feet.
Alright guys, so for real, I'm going to do it sometime when it warms up next month. Psychic Readings by Jimmy Jams from the Edward Casey Center. So get a penny jar and start putting pennies in it, right? By next month, you should have $5. If you can't save $5 worth of pennies in a month for a psychic reading that might change your life, right? Your whole life. For $5. And I'll take it in pennies. You can mail it to me in a little box. I got a piggy bank. And you will get the best psychic reading you ever had in your whole entire life for $5. From the Edward Casey Center.
And before long, I was swimming in my ultimate financial success, following one synchronistic event path after another. The final, 5th step, is to follow the paths. 2 weeks into my entrepreneur adventure, I hadn't received any wins. This was the date I was supposed to be returning to my old job. But because I had no job.
There you go. Make a cuss jar. Every time you cuss, put a dime in it. Within a month, you will have, I know the robot voice is breaking the rule. But I said I was going to break it because I'm watching stuff on Synchronicity, and they all seem to be robot voices. And I'm trying to learn some stuff because this stuff's been happening to me, like, constantly this last week. And I use YouTube as a educational platform. So, like, I could sit here and watch it without you guys, or I could sit here and learn stuff with you guys. So I figured I'm gonna sit here and learn stuff with you guys, and you sometimes you're gonna have to suck it up and watch some shit you don't want to watch. But this is the kick I'm on right this second, so you know, just deal with it for a minute. It'll be alright.
Job, I kept going. By that 4th week, I had a huge surge in results, and started earning more money per week than I was previously banked.
What am I looking for? Like what in life? That's easy. Just happiness like everybody else. I just want to be a happy dude. No worries. That's the only thing I'm looking for in life, is to get rid of my worries. And if I can do that, I would be the happiest person ever. If you didn't have nothing to worry about, you'd be always happy. But I'm pretty happy anyway. So there ain't really much I want. There's not too much stuff I'm chasing. You know, I do want my car, but that ain't something that I think I have to run for. I think I could walk slow enough and I'd eventually get to that. So there's nothing really I'm chasing. Nothing really matters, man. Like Jim Carrey says, the crazy ass. You know what I'm saying? It's just a flow, man. It's just a flow. Sometimes you go underwater, and sometimes your head pops out, and you just bob and weave, bob and weave. That's how I explain life. And I know I'm not really looking for nothing. I'm not chasing nothing. I'm walking after a few things, you know, but I'm not running for nothing.
Per month. If I had not been fired, this wouldn't have occurred. That was the final pathway, in a line of meaningful coincidences, that all equated to one struggling mechanic, rising to successful entrepreneurship, and his first achievement of $50,000 per month. This, of course, led to many larger, grander scale achievements. Each one starting with a clear...
I do got a video where I cloned myself. It's an old video, and you would have to be on my personal Facebook to find it, but it's up there. There's 2 Jimmys on it, and I'm talking to myself, and we're holding a conversation. And I talk about cloning. I'm like, in the video I say, I was playing a lot of shows at the time, and I was fighting. So I was super busy. I was gone every day. So I had made this video, you know, because my friends were like, man, we ain't seen you, because I was always training, and I was always leaving and playing shows. So I made this video where I had 2 Jimmys. And I was like, well, look, this Jimmy's going to hang out with you guys while I'm off fighting and doing music. But I was at least cool enough to leave you another Jimmy type thing. And I'm waving. It's a pretty funny video. But I didn't upload stuff into YouTube, so it was on Facebook.
Intention, staying focused, and sidestepping any stoppers. Seeing events from my chosen perception, trusting my gut, and following those trail of events, leading towards the path to success. Beliefs are self-fulfilling prophecies. Beliefs create reality, for everyone. Coincidence is one thing, but when it happens 100 times in a row, to people around you, and to yourself, that's beyond coincidence. That's the universe sending you signs.
That...
Did I tell y'all Joe Rogan was the man? Never doubt what Joe Rogan says.
was the story of Shane Kreider and his successful rise from a mechanic to an entrepreneur.
Okay. So y'all guys are over the robot voice. I get it. I get it. I get it. Let's see.
Say, just go with the flow, just go with life, allow it to unfold. No, I am here to bring this down to earth, to share with you what I have learned from this crazy experience. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so happy that you are here with me today because I'm going to share with you one of the most significant things I have learned so far on my journey through life. And it's one of those things that we all experience. I am talking about the cycles that tend to repeat again and again. Those situations that every time you meet them, you're kind of like, why me? Why again? Why am I meeting this exact same thing in my life over and over again? So we're going to talk about synchronicity and how we can use it in order to transform our life. I am super excited to dive into it, but before we start, if it is your first time here, then welcome. I'm Sheer. We have a beautiful online family here that shares this life experience.
Nah, Joe Rogan is done changed, man. I don't care what y'all say. That ain't the same Joe Rogan. That's a clone, dude. That's like a fatter version that does more drugs.
Together, and I would love for you to join us by subscribing to my channel. So without further ado, let's start. So first, what is the official definition of synchronicity?
Dude, you got a Macho Man shirt? That's super dope. I like to have a Macho Man shirt. I'm jealous. That made me jealous.
The coincidental occurrence of events, especially psychic events that seem related but are not explained by conventional mechanisms.
Okay, you see they mentioned psychic, right? I keep telling you guys, I'm psychic. And I'm having all these synchronicities. And it's tripping me out. I already knew I was psychic.
Sounds pretty magical, right? At least that's how I experience it in my life. Throughout the years, I notice how certain situations and events tend to repeat themselves and even connect somehow. It can be as simple as having a thought and having someone next to you saying that thought exactly out loud, or seeing 1111 everywhere you look, or it can be huge life-changing events. Another beautiful way to look at it is to see the synchronicity in your life, just like everything in the world.
Thank you, Boom Boom. That was nice.
Around us, like the seasons that change, like day and night, like our periods, like a heartbeat. Things come and things go, and they repeat again and again, and the same goes for the events in our life.
Yes.
But no matter how you grasp it, it goes back to the basics of working with what arises in you and outside of you. It only makes sense that if something keeps popping up in your life again and again.
Jimmy Superfly Snooker. His daughter wrestles now. I met Andre the Giant when I was a little kid. He picked me up and put me on his shoulder when I was a little kid. I met him at the Columbus, Georgia Coliseum when I was a kid, and he picked me up. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I didn't know the significance of it as a kid. Did y'all just see me shapeshift? I hope y'all didn't catch that. But, yeah, I met him when I was a kid. Let's go back to the video.
Again and again, maybe it's time to listen to it instead to work against it. And that is exactly what I want to share with you, because I recently had a life-changing experience in that matter. Ever since I can remember myself, I had very, very toxic relationships in my life. The youngest I can remember was from when I was 4 years old, but I'm going to share with you an example from when I was 8 years old. I had a friend that during recess, every time I would play with other girls that were not her, she would hit me, and after she would hit me...
The Junkyard Dog. Who did I like? I like Big John Stud. Y'all remember Big John Stud? That was my man when I was a kid. I always liked Big John Stud. I like Beefcake... Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I like King Kong Bundy.
She would go to the teacher and tell her that I was abusing her. So I ended up getting punished for doing nothing, basically. And this bizarre occurrence kept happening in my life again and again and
super fly for a white guy. Yeah. I got soul. That's what this black lady used to tell me. Old black lady. She'd be like, Jimmy got soul. Jimmy got soul.
Again throughout the years. But I did not see the connection between these different events. I thought I just...
What about like the Rock and Roll Express? Remember them? Ricky Morton, Robbie Orton, or whatever the fucking name was.
Had really bad luck when it comes to choosing friends.
Yeah, the Road Warriors, man. Which one died? Hawk or Animal? I think it was Hawk, right? No, I think Animal died. Hawk's still alive. Yeah, it was Ricky Morton. My mind's just slipping. You know, Jimmy didn't get a very good clone this time because he's broke. He got me at a discount rate. This is all he could get. And nobody even noticed, you know, different glasses. Y'all should have knew this was a clone. I ain't even wearing the same glasses.
So this kept happening to me more and more intensely every time, until a few years ago, where I experienced the most intense cycle so far. I was traveling in India alone for the first time, and it was a huge deal for me because
the Bushwhackers, yes. Yes, the Bushwhackers. That was a good one. That's a good one. See, that's old school there. Hawk died. Okay. I knew it was one of them because there's only two of them. Let's see. Roddy Piper. He was one of my favorites, man. Definitely. Ric Flair. How can you not love Ric Flair? I love Ric Flair. I don't know. Every now and then I'll just share his memes. It's like, share this Ric Flair meme for no other reason than it's Ric Flair. And I share it every time. I'm like, every time I see it. Because you got to. It's Ric Flair. Woo! It's Nature Boy. So, yeah.
I was such a fearful person, but when I landed in India, I did not acknowledge the fear I was in. I did not acknowledge the state I was in.
when Macho Man was messing with Hulk Hogan's old lady, I thought Macho Man was mad at Hulk Hogan because he thought Hulk Hogan was messing with Miss Elizabeth. You know, and then she ended up with like Lex Luger or something and OD'd, right, and died. Didn't they find her dead in Lex Luger's garage or something? All right, let me go to the chat for a second. We'll come back to synchronicity. Y'all done got me on some old school pro wrestling. Hold on. I gotta get a mouse pad. I mean, I got one. I just don't have the little thing set up in front of me no more like I used to because I got this mic. Now I ain't got nowhere to set my mouse. All right, let me see what y'all are saying because it's moving fast. Was Elizabeth? Yeah, that's right. Hulk Hogan. Elizabeth was Macho Man's woman. They used to swing in a lot of wrestlers. Yeah, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, he had a stroke. He paralyzed because he was on an airplane. He cracked his neck. Lex Luger, he's like that. I do it all the time, but he actually broke his neck when he did it, and he's in a wheelchair now. Yeah, Luger. So yeah, them drugs are bad. That's the moral of the story. Look, see, that's what rich fame brought them, right? Look what they did with their fame and that money. Drugs. I mean, I'm sure they lived a fast life and lived that whole rock star life, but look where it ends you up, right? He's in a wheelchair. She's dead. Macho Man's dead. The only one left, Hulk Hogan. He's batshit crazy. You can't believe nothing he says. Goldberg, I hear you. He went up to the Fed for pills. Yeah. He the steroids, man. Look at his body now. I bet you his wiener is probably this big. That's probably like that. You know what I'm saying? And he couldn't even use it if he wanted to. So yeah, you live that fast life for that short period of time. Because when you're living that life, it's going so fast. That time that he spent in the light and doing all that went by fast. And now, time is going slow. And he's paying for it. Bad. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's the price of fame. That's what I tell you. You could chase that dream, and sometimes the dream you're chasing ain't really the dream you need to catch. But then again, people handle different situations. Some people, take that money and fame and leave pro wrestling and live great lives, and other ones go downhill like so bad because they get hurt and they always end up on drugs for the pain, and next thing you know they're addicted and they're strung out and they're like Jake the Snake Roberts and they're in a hotel smoking crack, peeking out the blinds, and that stuff happens. And it happens a lot in professional wrestling because of injuries and drugs. Because it's not like a sport where you got to go pee in a cup. Because back in the day, there wasn't no peeing in a cup. They're just entertainers. They don't got to pee in a cup for your ass. You know what I'm saying? For what? It ain't a sport. It's fake. Right? Much as they portrayed it to be real, everybody knows it's scripted. It's fake. So yeah, the drugs, just Chris Benoit. Eddie Guerrero, all of it. It's just, even Hulk Hogan, remember he was busting on Vince McMahon for selling steroids and stuff back in the day, and that's why he went to WCW. It's like, man, the drugs was crazy back then. Look at Vince McMahon now. If you tell me that 70-year-old man ain't on steroids, you're lying to yourself. Oh yeah, the Iron Sheik, dude. You know who I met in Walmart one night? Nikita Koloff. Nikita Koloff was in Walmart one night, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's the Russian Bear. And the person was like, who is that? I was like, that's fucking Nikita Koloff. And I ran up to him in Walmart. Was like, hey man, and he was like, I was like, you saw it? He was like, yeah. And I was like, I knew it. I knew right when I seen him who it was. Okay, I'm reconnected. See, I don't know. Y'all both have the same screen name. Y'all got to do something about that. Because I don't know which Billy Goat is what Billy Goat. I can't have a whole stable full of Billy Goats. Could you be like a lamb or like a sheep, billy sheep, or like another animal? Could you be a Piggly Pete? Piggly Pete would be good. Or Barnyard Bob, or Moo Cow something. I don't know. What other animals on a farm? Different pics, but yeah, like I can't see your pics. You know what I'm saying? I can barely see your names. So they're like, different pics, bro. Just look at the pic. Damn, bro, you can't figure it out? No, because I can't see your pictures. One, I'm half blind. I got a light on over here. The screen over here is like this big, and the mic blocks it now. So I got to go like this to see, and that's why I got the chat here big so I can see it, but it don't show your pictures. So yeah, that's rule number. What rule do I got? I'm at like 4. Rule 4 is don't have the same screen name. I mean, y'all could be similar, you know, but just don't be the same. It's too confusing. I ain't that smart. All right, let's go back to this video.
And instead, I chose to enter another intense relationship, unaware at the time, but I did so. And when I got back home after 2 months after that extremely intense experience, I entered another intense relationship. So this time I had 2. These 2 relationships meant the world to me.
I honestly think you can catch a fly with chopsticks. Because I used to, I'll tell you a story, right? All the time when a fly flies by, I try to catch them. And I've caught so many flies, like so many. I don't know, just to be super hard with a pair of chopsticks, but I bet you it could be done with enough patience. I could chase a fly around the room with a pair of chopsticks. And if I was determined enough, I bet you I could catch them. But it would be hard.
To me at the time, but sadly, again, they ended very.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. So, you know, I catch flies like that. So one time I was standing outside, and some flew past me. I thought it was a fly, and I grabbed it, caught it, right? Damn honeybee stung me in the head. I was like, pow! So, yeah. So I know you can catch a honeybee.
Very badly on both fronts, and this time it was something I could not ignore anymore. I had no other option than to accept and experience all of these emotions I have been putting aside for most of my life. This sent me on a very long and deep journey of healing, which I did mainly through therapy and mindfulness meditation. But this painful process made me aware.
I should have became a therapist, because what the hell is a therapist for anyway? And my daughter, okay, this tripped me out. So my daughter calls me the other day, and she said, it was like, she usually goes to bed pretty early, right? And she calls me, and it's like 9 o'clock. And I'm like, what are you doing up? She said, well, I stayed up because my therapist said I shouldn't sleep so much. What? What? I don't even know what to say about it.
For the first time in my life, to so many things that it allowed me to break the cycle. And I actually experienced this just last week. Exactly like the first time I decided to travel to India. Out of nowhere, I got this urge to cut off all of my hair. And yes, I cut off all of my hair last week. And if you want to see...
Oh, I can only imagine what my kid says to her therapist about me. Oh my God. She's like, my dad's old as hell. He's on YouTube. He's going through a midlife crisis. He thinks, he tells people he's an alien. I mean, I can hear it now. You know what I'm saying? So this therapist is probably thinking my kid is dealing with all kind of psychological problems, right? But nah, my kid's good. And but her birthday's in like 3 days. She turns 18. And I had to go pay. She got this party going on with like 5 or 6 bands playing. So I had to go pay all these bands today. So that hit my pocket good. And so I was talking to her mom. And because you know I'm paying the bands. I think her mom's paying for security at the club and the sound man. You know, there's different things you gotta have, right? Because we got this club that we're having it at, and she was like, yeah, you know, I've been saving money so we could get matching tattoos. And I was like, I was like, what? I was like, you said what? I had to like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, tattoos. I was like, oh, nah. I was like, don't you think that's something you should discuss? She was like, well, she's 18. She wants a tattoo of an odd. I was like, oh, hell nah. Hell nah. I was like, we going to have to talk about this one. I was like, but we ain't going to do it tonight. We ain't going to do it right now. I was like, but this one's going to have to be discussed. So it was one of those nights.
That in action, then you can watch this vlog over here. But this experience was exactly the same like the first time I traveled to India, and it brought up so much fear in me. I felt completely and utterly terrified from stepping into this unknown. But this time, instead of just
why you say the girl's head looked like a balled up towel? Why would that come? Where did that come from?
jumping into another intense relationship and putting my emotions aside, I allowed myself to feel all of these emotions, all of this fear. I allowed all of this to come out of me, and maybe in a way also to release when I released my hair. I remember when I got back home from the hairdresser that night and I was sitting on the porch crying, just crying, bawling, but I allowed myself to feel it without judgment, which was a huge deal for me, and it definitely was something I was building to for a couple of years now. And
see, I like it. I can tell who people are. That's a lot better. You start getting confused, it's like, I don't know who I'm talking to, and I don't mind crazy names. Like, if I know who it is, that's the crazy name. Alright, let's go back to the lady that said her head looked like a wet towel when she was born. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but it's just random.
Much to my surprise, once I allowed myself to experience that fear, I started to feel this huge amount of bliss, of love coming out of me. Something I could never expect to feel on a night like that.
Also, in my psychic readings, you'll be able to find out if you're going to get a wrench in the future.
I looked at everything with new, fresh eyes. I just felt reborn. And I realized that this is what has been waiting for me all of these years under the cycle once I allowed myself to break free from it and transform. It was an incredible experience that I am...
Wrenches don't really do nobody any good anyway. It's like, it ain't really nothing to it. All you can do is time somebody out. And if somebody was being that bad anyway, I would time them out. So... they really don't do, and you can share links, but we can't click on links because it opens them in different pages. I have to have titles, so it really don't do no good anyway.
Holding deeply in my heart, and I know this is the place I was supposed to arrive in. And I also know that I'm going to learn so many more lessons and situations in my life, because in the end, all the rivers lead to the same ocean. And once you allow yourself to join the flow of life instead of fighting against it, it will lead you to a place of peace that is underneath.
Oh, I didn't know you could block people from the channel. You can actually block people from my channel? I didn't know that. Damn. Maybe I wouldn't have handed out so many wrenches.
And beyond everything you experience on the outside. This is not...
I don't know, Happy. You like a rogue agent sometimes. You like to go rogue on us. You're like Murdoch, right? You're a Murdoch.
Not a journey for the faint of heart, and I am not here to say just go with the flow, just go with life, allow it to unfold. No, I am here to bring this down to earth, to share with you what I have learned from this crazy experience. So what I was able to figure out from my experience is something I like to call meeting yourself. M-E-E.
I'm going to start giving out sprockets. I don't know. If you had a boy, you was gonna name him Murdoch. Well, I hope you have a daughter, because I don't think I'd want to go through life with my name Murdoch as a kid. What up, Murdoch? I don't know though. It might be cool. I want a screwdriver. I was drinking orange crushes the other night and raspberry crushes. I had never drank a raspberry crush, but it was really good.
Meet. The M stands for mindful, becoming mindful of this current moment. What is happening with me right now? Coming back to now. The E stands for experience, allowing yourself to experience whatever it is that is happening in your life right now. It can be a huge emotion that is coming up in you, or a crazy situation in your life, or your mind that is just going insane with so many thoughts. No matter what it is, the key is to experience without judgment. And yes, this takes a lot of practice.
Okay, I think she's like Buddhist or something.
Greetings, my dears, in love and light. What is synchronicity, and why you should pay attention to it? Synchronicity is defined by Oxford dictionaries as the simultaneous occurrence of events which appear significantly related but have no discernible causal connection. Synchronicity is a phenomenon that falls under the umbrella of the law of attraction.
Pencils in my
it
ears.
has the same root cause and similar intended effects. However, synchronicity is especially fun because creation, or the universe, often becomes overt and obvious in its attempt to get your attention and communicate with you, frequently leaving you flabbergasted and...
Alright guys, let's do this one. Alright, location and time where you're at. And how's everybody been today, man? How's y'all day been? You know, I'm always talking about my day, but I want to hear about y'all's day. Like, anybody do anything cool? Like, see anything cool? Anybody see a UFO, or like a Bigfoot, or like a El Chupacabra, or like a voodoo witch doctor? I'm cool with a voodoo witch doctor, or somebody with a small head. Look, oh, speaking of small heads, and speaking of orange crushes, this is synchronicity, right? When I was at the club, there was this dude, and I don't, you know me, I don't like to talk about people, so, guy, I ain't gonna say what club I was at. PBR, professional bull riding in Waterside, Norfolk, but I ain't gonna say that. And he was a security guy. I ain't gonna say, but he was a black guy. He had these wide ass shoulders, right? And I swear his head was this big. His head had to be this big. It looked like a good sized softball. It looked like somebody, Beetlejuice was standing over him sprinkling shit on his head. I was like, this dude's head can't be real. But yeah, it was real.
Amazed. So what is synchronicity? A concept initially put forward by the psychiatrist Carl Jung. He suggested that events are frequently meaningful coincidences, although they seem to have no relationship whatsoever.
Guys, I'm gonna run this for a second. I gotta get up and get me something to drink. I got the cotton mouth, like the worst ever. It's like I'm chewing on super glue or something.
Indeed, appearing to be connected in some way. Personal examples of significance that have happened to me are meeting a person who would have much impact on my life, and the first thing they said to me was that we are all made up of the same hydrogen atoms originating from distant stars, hence there's no you or me, only we. I met this person by chance, as I was midway through writing an article on the oneness of all things, the very same concept. Another example is repeatedly running into a lady as if it were on purpose, but it wasn't, at events, venues, in the street and so on. This went on for a number of months before we agreed to meet up for coffee. The chance meeting ceased as we were now friends. Another example, receiving a tarot reading telling me to expect a child. The next day I found out...
Okay, that's boring. Let's go to this. Because James just got dunked on.
Froggy Fresh, and Money Maker Mike, and Gator Jones, and Jimmy Butler. This for the Bulls. Yeah, I'm talking about that man, Jimmy Butler. Put your weapon on the Cavs, they some busters. I ain't gonna lie, LeBron, you's a baller. But Jimmy Butler is your baller. Yeah, I'm talking about that man, Jimmy Butler. Put your weapon on the Cavs, they some busters. I ain't gonna lie, LeBron, you's a baller. But Jimmy Butler is your baller.
I meant to play this one anyway. This one man, James. That's what I always say to James when he comes in the room. Why is he crying? Because he just got dunked on.
Out on the court for a game of 2-on-2. Me and Mike versus James and his boy Big Blue. We headed off to Kevin's house right after school. Because he got that new Lifetime basketball hoop. We came ready to play. We came ready to win and bring the trophy home that day. Big Blue said, you ain't bringing home that W. How you gonna score when I'm standing here in front of you? I grabbed the ball and I passed it into Mike. Mike caught the pass, fake left and went right. He drove through the lane and he threw it off the glass. I couldn't believe my eyes, he was running so fast. Caught the pass in mid-air, then he threw that boy down. Nobody could believe it, James fell over on the ground. He started crying, put his hands on his head. Then Big Blue looked at me and Mike and he said, why is James crying? Cause he just got dunked on. I ain't even lying, yo, he just got dunked on. Yeah, he was standing in the way, so I jumped up in the air and I ducked it on his face. Why is James crying? Cause he just got dunked on. I ain't even lying, yo, he just got dunked on. Yeah, he was standing in the way, so I jumped up in the air and I dunked it on his face. James is mad, I could see it in his eyes. James never gets dunked on and James don't ever cry. He stood up, beat his fist on his chest, looked at me and Mike and ran his thumb across his neck. He grabbed the ball, squared up to the hoop, took a hard right step, and then he slipped in dog poop. Me and Mike started laughing, and he deserved it too. For the rest of the day, we called him Captain Poopy Shoes. Then the ball bounced right over to me. Big Blue was so big, I could barely even see. I took the ball, and I threw it in the air, although I couldn't see a thing. I had a feeling Mike was there. He grabbed the ball and did an alley-oop dunk. Right on top of James, he made him look like a punk. Then James' girlfriend walked by. She stopped right there and looked me square in the eye. She said, why is James crying? Cause he just got dunked on. I ain't even lying, yo, he just got dunked on. Yeah, he was standing in the way, so I jumped up in the air and I dunked it on his face. Why is James crying? Cause he just got dunked on. I ain't even lying, yo, he just got dunked on. Yeah, he was standing in the way, so I jumped up in the air and I dunked it on his face. For the rest of the game, the lead went back and forth. It was all tied up when I checked the scoreboard. There was only 10 seconds left on the clock. James went in for a layup, but his shot got blocked. And then I juked out Big Blue with the spin move. I was headed straight for the hoop. I looked at Mike, put my hand up in the air. James was standing in the way, but you know I didn't care. Mike threw a perfect pass and I jumped so high. I was way up in the sky, dog, it felt like I could fly. I grabbed the ball and I threw it down hard. Right on top of James, I felt like a superstar. That's how me and Mike won the basketball game. We beat Big Blue and Big Bad James. Cause me and Mike are the #1 team. And we heard James cry, yeah, we heard his mom scream. She said, why is James crying? Cause he just got dunked on. I ain't even lying, yo, he just got dunked on. Yep, he was standing in the way, so I jumped up in the air and I dunked it on his face. Why is James crying? Cause he just got dunked on. I ain't even lying, yo, he just got dunked on.
if he started crying because he got dunked on. That's why I played it.
I was pregnant. This, however, could be attributed simply to spirit communication.
Sometimes you got to mix it up.
The coincidence of having the reading at that time was likely attributable to synchronicity. Another, while writing an article on a specific topic, I am very frequently presented with seemingly random life events that provide me with fundamental experience.
You know, every now and then I like to throw in some random Froggy Fresh. It's just too stupid and funny.
To do with the topic. Plus, I'm constantly presented with articles, books or videos that I wasn't even looking for that add perspective to the topic at hand. Personal examples over the last 2 days have been being sent a link by my partner about an obscure sort of event in a nearby city, and then later that day a new friend of mine asked if I'd like to go to it with her. She lives right nearby to the event, and to come to her house first, so I better go. Another example, sending my partner a link to a song that I was just listening to, just as he had finished listening to the same song. Not a pop song, so it was an unlikely choice. Another, a friend complaining that she felt extremely separated from her own emotions, just as I'd finished reading a chapter in a book addressing the very same topic, allowing me to be well equipped to help. Noticing 3 or 4 separate posters for missing pets in totally different geographical areas. Then a close acquaintance's dog escapes and goes missing. And feeling that I should encourage a family member to express their creativity, then them complaining they are unable to express their creativity the next time I see them. Although this could have been picked up psychically or given intuitively by spirit, it still provides a synchronous result. Also, looking at my watch 3 separate times in one day, each time it being exactly on the hour. The time or arrangement of numbers, for example 1111, is significant to many people due to it being frequently associated with synchronicity. There is no universal meaning to 1111, as each person may perceive it differently. It's usually, however, some kind of heads up or signal to please pay attention, sent from spirit guides, loved ones in spirit, your higher self or creation itself. Try observing and following these types of numerical synchronicities when they arise and see what type of meaning they produce for you. So we see that synchronicity is a coincidence of greater probability, far less than random chance, that ties 2 or more events together in some meaningful way, for the purpose of drawing your attention to a particular matter to facilitate your learning or experience. Synchronicity is meaningful to you. If others experience your synchronicity, it will not hold the same meaning and implications for them. If you tell them about it, they will not be able to perceive the applicable lessons offered by it as you can. Synchronicity can, however, present both positive or negative lessons, depending on the vibration you're holding, whether within your subconscious or conscious mind. You will attract synchronicity according to the same rules as the law of attraction. Most of the time, however, synchronicity seems to be a tool used by creation to provide joyful surprise to the recipient, if they are paying attention, of course. The reason for synchronicity may not always be abundantly clear. However, by paying attention, we can learn the lessons being pointed out without even realizing it. So who is doing it? Creation, the universe, God, source, or whatever you want to call it, is everywhere and everything. You are part of it. It wants you to learn and experience because it in turn gets to learn and experience too. As per the law of attraction, circumstances, people, things and events are attracted to you according to the vibration you are holding.
Josh, why you be grabbing so many people by the hip?
Either consciously or subconsciously, but mostly subconsciously. Creation does this in order to provide you with the lessons and experience that you require in order to spiritually progress as a unique entity. Creation works through your subconscious to give you what you need, and your subconscious manifests these things for you for this.
He's silly, man. Just spreading the love. There you go. Good answer. That's the last thing I'm asking.
This very purpose. Your subconscious, unconscious, spirit or soul has the definite ability to manipulate the intelligent energy of our earthly illusion and beyond to manifest the realities required for your utmost benefit. Synchronicity is another tool that's used to present these lessons, but it's a bit more interesting because it can seem both playful and obvious. These chance-defying coincidences occur every day of our lives, but our minds are so conditioned and brainwashed into thinking that synchronicities are mere random chance occurrences that we completely ignore every single one. We are so under the egotistical illusion that random coincidences account for all of the synchronicity in our lives that if we actually wrote down when each instance occurred, we would see a pattern.
I tell you, I'm going to start writing it down, guys.
And when chance occurs that often, it alludes to design, and design is the opposite of chance. Why does synchronicity occur? So as already mentioned, synchronicity is a way for creation, manifested by your subconscious mind, to say, heads up, pay attention. If you're not paying attention to the lessons being laid down, or if there's some person, circumstance or event that you need to pay special attention to for some current or future learning objective, then synchronicity will highlight it. Synchronicity expands your state of awareness and presents opportunities to reduce the impact of your egotistical self on your entire being, that's your mind-body-spirit complex, and do some work of a more universal nature. Although the gravity of these lessons may never become apparent in this lifetime anyway. There may be a person who has entered your life, but you're not making the effort required with this friendship for them to fulfill.
James, was you here when I played your song? I played a song for you, and I think you wasn't even here when I played it. That's terrible.
Fulfill their role in your life and vice versa. Synchronicity might encourage you to make the effort. There may be an event that must happen to you, but you're not on the right path to experience it. Synchronicity may change your path.
2 knee joints.
Or there might be something
got a couple
that you've
elbow
read
joints.
and you need to remember, but your mind has already forgotten it.
You
If
guys
creation
kill
gets a
me
family
sometimes.
member to spontaneously talk about this very topic the same day, then you'll be more likely
Them
to
are the good
remember
ones
the
right
thing you
there.
read and it be instilled in your subconscious mind for good. You may attract people, circumstances, things and events into your life due to the law of attraction, but synchronicity is the big heads up. Creation is being blatantly obvious about it when it uses synchronicity, so please pay attention.
I'm going to
So
start paying
when and
attention,
how
guys.
often does it occur? The awesome thing about synchronicity is that if you recognise and realise it's happening, you experience it all the time.
I do.
You
It's weird.
deprogram the illusion instilled in you that says, brush off coincidence and immediately forget it.
That's what I've been doing. Like, dude, I'm telling y'all, it's crazy, guys. I wouldn't be, look, I done sat here and watched these videos from, 11 o'clock to 2 hours. That's how bad it's been tripping me out of all the coincidences, right? And, it's too many. It's like, I can understand if something happened to me that was coincidental, like, once in a while, but it's been every day. Like, every day for this last week, like, and it just keeps happening.
Instead, you reprogram yourself to recognise when synchronicity has occurred and to make note of it. It can begin to happen every single day if you pay attention. Yes, random chance events still occur, but upon examination you can deem whether this is the cause or not. Additionally, it gets more amazing. Simply because you're paying attention, synchronicity happens even more frequently. You are one with creation, and there are no secrets. The universe knows what you know, so it realises instantly that you are paying attention to synchronicity, and the lessons come more frequently because you're obviously ready for life's lessons.
I think so, guys. I told y'all my journey is more of an enlightenment, getting smarter and learning things and stuff like that, and that I was on a new journey. I've been saying that. See? I don't know. It's been freaking me out, but maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I have been tuning into stuff more and been noticing and paying attention. Like she's saying that you need to. I tell people, man, you need to pay attention to the world around you. And when you see, like, I don't know, when you start seeing shit change and you're like, how could it be? And you know you ain't crazy. It's the universe telling you something. You know, I don't know what it's telling me, but it's been trying to tell me something every day.
At a stage in your progression when you are ready. So creation says, via your subconscious, let's go. What to do when synchronicity occurs? Synchronicity is a highlighter. It's the highlighter on life, so pay special attention. Next time there's a weird coincidence, or 3 or 4 to do with the same topic, person, event or such like, then make a mental note, or better yet, write it down. Each synchronicity is quickly forgotten because we're so conditioned to brush off coincidence. Examine synchronicity. Patterns will emerge. For example, 5 or 6 weird coincidences have occurred to do with a certain friend. Compare each synchronicity. Is there a theme? What's the purpose to get you to make more effort with them? Listen to them? Help them maybe? Stand up for them? Support them? Have fun with them? And so on. Once you've decided on one or more purpose, ask yourself why this is so. If the synchronicities seem to point to you needing to show support to this person, why is this so? How is giving support significant to you? Was there a time in your life when you needed support but didn't get it? Or you didn't give it? Have you ever supported someone in this way before? Perhaps you simply needed to experience what it's like. How did you benefit? What did you learn? That's the clincher. What did you learn? What did you experience? Take that and think about it. In other words, contemplate it. Use some intuition when fully settling on the meaning of your experiences, as the largely ignored inner sense of intuition often holds the keys to the greater meaning and universal understanding. Sit quietly and contemplate it, then meditate on it if you like. Take portions of meaning and meditate. Hold the basic concepts in your mind until they sink into your subconscious. If you don't go that far, just mulling it over in your mind is enough. Then, once a lesson is learned, you don't need to repeat. The lesson will no longer pop up again and again throughout your life until you pay attention to it and learn. You've already learnt it. Now you're wiser for sure. Don't forget to click subscribe if you're not already a subscriber to receive regular spiritual inspiration on your journey through life. Like and share.
That was a good video. I wasn't digging it at first, but as it went into it, I started to get into that a little bit. I was digging what she was talking about. Let's see, what else are we gonna pull up? Let's check this guy out. I like random people.
Hey there, my name is Gabriel Morris. Greetings from beautiful Jasper National Park, where we have a rather cloudy day, raining earlier this morning, but still a nice day to get out and do a little hiking around. So in this video I'm going to discuss the concept of synchronicity, and an important distinction to be made is between coincidence and synchronicity. So let's say that you're driving.
Happy. I am not on my Jams TV. My Jams TV has YouTube Red, and we don't have commercials or pop-ups or any of that stuff. Jams TV 2 don't have YouTube Red, so I could sign off, but on this one I can see my stream. So if anything's going with the stream or if it's down, I can see it. I can tell how many people are watching and stuff like that. So I don't have it on YouTube Red. So I gotta skip commercials and stuff like that. And I don't want to show commercials or anything like that. So I go ahead and I jump back to the chat. I mute it, and when it passes the commercial, I play it. Kind of thing like that while I'm here on this. We're only here for, what, 75 more days. And then we go back to YouTube Red and no commercials and all that good stuff.
Along in your car through the city, and you come up to a stoplight, and at that time then you're thinking about a friend of yours, and you're like, you know, I haven't
No, I don't think they're saying the universe has more control over your life than you do, because you got free will and you can consciously make decisions that alter or change what was supposed to happen. What they're saying basically is everything is not a coincidence. It's meant to happen, and all these things that have happened to you were meant to happen, and there's a reason. It's not coincidence. It's by design, and I'm really believing it. I'm really believing it. You know, I can buy into it a little bit because it's just like weird things that I'm experiencing. You know, and it's total what they're saying. It's totally that thing, and that's why I pulled it up to hear what other people were saying about it, what other people were experiencing with it, because I get up here and I talk about, you know, guys, my experiences. I can't tell what everybody else is experiencing. Like when I did the Mandela effect, it might not be, like even in my videos, it might not be a Mandela effect for some people, but it might just be a Mandela effect for me, you know, my reality, you know, or how I perceive reality. But there's been so many coincidences and crazy things going on that the whole synchronicity thing's just been like, how can everything be so tied together? You know, it's kind of wow.
Talked to that friend in quite a while. I wonder what they're up to, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden that person happens to pull up in a car right beside you and then look over and be like, hey, whoa, what's going on? Coincidence would say, this is a random series of events. Synchronicity says that nothing in the universe...
Yes, Jeffrey Dahmer was supposed to eat people. I don't know. I don't know if he was really supposed to eat people. I don't know. He made that decision to eat people. Maybe his path was something else. And he chose to stray away from it and started eating people. I don't know if he was designed. Everything happened for a reason. In our reality, it happened for a reason, so we learned that people like this were out there. So it had a reason, you know, in my reality. Now, I wouldn't recommend going eating people. That's a whole different road. That ain't even on the path I'm on. That don't even connect to that road, I don't think. I hope not. You know what I'm saying? If I get hungry enough, maybe. But nah, I ain't eating nobody no time soon. I did have some chicken teriyaki sticks from the Chinese place today, and they were probably like pigeon or rat or something. I don't know. Might have been people. Could have been people. Possible.
Happens by chance, and that there is a reason and a deeper meaning behind everything. Synchronicity is the act of the universe conspiring to help you create your own reality. Or at least that's one definition that I came up with off the top of my head.
That was off the top of his head.
Synchronicity is the act of unseen forces beyond the physical realm, in the metaphysical realm, that are acting on your life, that are working with you, and that are reflecting reality back to you. Coincidence says, you know, it's completely random. The universe is a place of completely random events and objects and things, material things and beings that are operating based on scientific principles, and it's all basically just a big machine.
Okay, what's going on, Michael? Hold on, let me pull the chat back up for a second so I can see this. Jimmy, I cannot then my email in your live chat. Weird. What are you talking about, Michael? Possibly, but it could also be test to receive your call. I know for one thing I'm not going into the light. If I'm dying and there's a light, I'm going to the light. I don't know where y'all going. I'm getting to the light. You know what I'm saying? If it's that time and it's the light's there, I'm trying to get to the light. Definitely. I don't want the light to cut off on me. Sucker, man, anybody's dying and the light's there. Unless there's a voice that says, hey, you're not ready.
Synchronicity says that there is something deeper behind it all, and that there are other energies and forces that are
Okay, here's one that messes with me, guys. Okay, what is life? Life is consciousness, right? So, what is death? It would have to be the opposite of life, right? Which would be what? Unconsciousness. Not being conscious. Not being here would be, you know, the opposite of life. And people, here's the thing, is people fear death every day, right? But nobody ever fears going to sleep. I mean, you lose consciousness, right? So if consciousness is being alive and unconscious, you're not alive. You'd be dead, right? I mean, it's weird like that if you think about it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not really here when you're asleep. And nobody fears going to sleep. You know, you could go to sleep and never wake up. Nobody ever fears that. But everybody seems to fear dying. That trips me out a little bit.
Scene that are working with you to create your reality. Now I'll give another example. I've had so many experiences of, you know, just strangeness, or just where, you know, at the nick of time things pulled through for me. So I thought that I would just tell a short little story of mine. I am a professional hitchhiker, you could say, in that I've been hitchhiking for more than 30 years, since I was 8 years old. And I've written a book about it, and it's featured hitchhiking is in like 3 or 4 of my books. I've hitchhiked the length of the United Kingdom, all over the western United States, Alaska, Hawaii, and a few different countries around the world. Hitchhiking for me has been a very powerful spiritual experience and influence on my life, in terms of coming to trust the universe and coming to understand that the universe is working miracles, you know, without our realizing it. So just one little example is I was at a rainbow gathering in northern Michigan, and this was in 2002. Gathering? This was the United States National Rainbow Gathering. Like 20,000-30,000 people show up and have a big party in the woods, basically. And I'd booked a flight from Minneapolis, Minnesota, back to Portland, Oregon. And so I had to get across the state of Wisconsin.
Oh, I hate Wisconsin.
I gave myself, I forget if it was a day and a half or 2.5 days, but it's only about a 5 or 6 hour drive, hippies. So I gave myself what I thought would be plenty of time. I left the rainbow gathering late in an afternoon. I'm pretty sure I had all the next day.
He probably smells like patchouli.
And maybe the next day after that, I forget. Anyways, I had a fair amount of time, so I thought. I left the rainbow gathering that day, managed to get some rides down into the local town, and then just pretty much got stuck, and then got another ride 10-15 miles further, and ended up sleeping on the road for the side of the road for the night. And got up the next morning, and so I had all day. I guess it must have been a day and a half. So I had all that day to get to Minneapolis.
See, that dude though, that is a free life. You hear what he said? He said he just jumped on a plane, flew somewhere, hitchhiked somewhere, stayed on, threw him up a little campsite, slept there, then he's going somewhere else, right? That's how I'm kind of going to do my trip when I go. But I'm not going to do it so rough like that. I ain't going to sleep on the side of the road, of course. But I'm going to map everything out, and every campground along the way, I'll know where everything's at, or hotels that are in a price budget that fits my whole plan of my trip. And but that's that's some stuff you got to do one time as a man, is just go out by yourself and adventure across the country and see things and do things. And it's like I don't know, my buddy's tells me it's a midlife crisis.
Up really early in the morning, at daybreak, and got out on the road. But Wisconsin is a very conservative state, and people were looking at me like I'm some total freak. And what are you doing standing there? And I was just not making hardly any progress. I got 1 or 2 just short little rides, so come 2 or 3 in the afternoon, my flight was late that evening. And basically I now needed a ride straight to the airport if I was going to catch this flight within the next, 30 minutes or something. So I'm standing on the side of the road of a highway in Wisconsin.
Check out what? Hold on, let me pull the chat back up. I told you guys, like, when I get closer to the time to take my trip, I'm going to get up here, we're going to map it out. Y'all guys are going to help me, tell me, like, little sites and stuff that, pops off around them areas. Because, there's guys here, I guess, United States. Some of you guys in other countries ain't going to be able to help, of course. Or unless you visit it and you know some cool spots. But, yeah, I'm going to map a bunch of stuff out and where I'm going to be. And when I'll be there and stuff like that. Josh, your house is haunted? Yeah, well, everybody's house is haunted, apparently. I think I live on a ancient burial ground as it is. But I think my good vibes keep the bad vibes away, hopefully. Yep, see, everybody's house is haunted. You ain't special, Josh. Everybody got the ghost. You ain't the only one. I got plenty of poltergeists. There's all kind of people died in my house. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 3 people have died here. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 1. Yeah, 3 people have died here in this house. And then, like I said, there's a graveyard behind it. There's a grave in the yard, and I think there's 2 more graves in the yard of 2 twin young boys, but I'm not 100% positive on that one. That's just might be urban legend. I'm not for sure. My yard is all fruit trees. Like this house I live in used to belong to my mother, and when she was alive, every Mother's Day we'd come over here and plant a fruit tree. And 25 years passed, so it's always like an orchard here at my house. It's like I got apple trees, plum trees, pear trees, you name it, I got that tree. And every tree that's not on the wood line, like we got a wood line behind it, but every tree other than the wood line is all fruit trees. But it makes flies bad in summertime too, like fruit flies and shit like that.
On the eastern edge of Wisconsin, I still have to get all the way across Wisconsin in order to catch this flight, and I didn't have much money, so that flight, cost me most of my money. Otherwise, I was going to be stuck either hitchhiking all the way across the rest of the U.S. or else, blowing the last of my money on a Greyhound ticket and taking, 3-4 days or whatever to make this trip. So I really, really wanted to, catch this flight. So I'm standing there on the side of the road, definitely starting to feel pretty desperate. And cars are passing me left and right. And this van comes flying down the road towards me. And as it is clear that it's going to pass me and isn't planning on stopping, then I waved him a peace sign. Turned my thumb into a peace sign as he went by. 20 seconds later, I heard the sound of his, engine slowing down, saw him slowing down. He turned around, came back, turned around, pulled up in front of me and says, "Where are you going?" I said, "Minneapolis." He says, "Me too." Hop in. And then once I was in the car and we were driving, then he says, "Well, I figured anyone who's going to throw me a peace sign, my passing them, rejecting them on the side of the road, what the heck, they deserve to be picked up." So, you can call that coincidence if you want. I made my flight. Or you can call it the universe pulling through for you and helping you to create your reality based on your thoughts and your emotions and your actions. And it's really just a belief. There's no way to prove it, of course, but just watch in your own life what happens and decide for yourself. Is this just a random assortment of physical objects clanging around, or is there some greater force behind that which we call the world and the universe? Yeah, in another video, I'm going to talk about.
I know this is delayed, but I just seen your comment, Tina. Yeah, you got to have 2 or more fruit trees. I don't know if they actually got to be technically the same fruit tree, but as long as it's pollinated, you know, bees and shit like that. All my fruit trees, it takes years for a fruit tree to actually produce fruit, right? I mean, like 15 years or some crazy. It takes a long time. All these trees on my property produce fruit, so they've been here a good while. I think coming up Mother's Day, I'm gonna plant another one and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I am gonna plant some more fruit trees out here, but baby ones. So 20 years from now, they'll be fruit trees. So I got a good chunk of land, so I got plenty of room.
The concept of the holographic universe, which touches on the same concept. So feel free to look for that one, and I'll sort of discuss that a little bit further. All right, thanks for watching. Take care.
Okay. Let's keep it rolling.
Well, digital marketing?
Today's Daily Dose is all about how to create and maintain.
Oh, here we go.
What do I mean by synchronicity? Synchronicity is when, for instance, you have a thought about someone and then they end up texting you right away or calling you, or you see them somewhere, or you, on a bigger scale, have a desire for something in life, and all of a sudden, all these little magical steps start appearing to get you there, and you can tell it's kind of divinely guided. That is synchronicity, and believe it or not, this is something you can experience all day, every day. I'm telling you from experience. It can be very blissful. You can start to feel like there's something outside of you, something out there that actually is completely in support of everything that you want. That's the universe. And when we are in touch with the universe and in touch with that connection, and we really believe it and listen to it and start seeing it, everything starts to become effortless. And let me tell you really what happens and why it happens and why we feel cut off from it, and sometimes why we can't see it at all. And really, in my experience of the last 20 years of testing this out and studying this and really wanting this for my life, what I've discovered to be true and why now I live in that space every day. So the first thing is opinions. The opinions of others completely take us off track, completely throw us off. And this is why. Many of us see authority figures, parents, teachers, people that we think have more power than us because we need them to survive, we need them for our identity and things like that when we're younger. We really take on a lot of their energy. Their opinions are everything to us. But unfortunately, here's the truth. You guys know I talk about the true self all the time. True self for your health. What is the true self? The true self is only one thing: pure, positive focus. A pure, positive self-identity is who you truly are. Knowing that your essence is love. Knowing that you were born perfect for your purpose. When you see yourself like the universe sees you, which is pure, positive focus, you start to have that connection. When you deeply believe in everything that you want and everything that you are, you see that it's actually supported outside of you. So, in a way, this is what gets tricky. We see that the universal laws and energies that surround us are actually in full support of the positive thoughts we have about us. But we question that all the time because we're not brought up unconditionally. We're brought up in a way where there are rules, you're good, you're bad, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this right. So we start having these negative beliefs about ourselves, these negative beliefs in general. Any negative belief we have is a limiting belief. It's limiting us from our true potential, from our true self. And even greater than that, it's limiting us from our connection to source energy and all that is. Because we are literally cutting ourselves off from our true self-identity, which is pure positive thoughts, pure positive energy, pure positive focus. So, what do? For me, I started discovering this really young. I was a teenager and I started thinking, wow, all these great things are coming true when I'm in alignment with that good feeling inside of me. But I would feel them being cut off as soon as I would have fear, doubt, anxiety, stress, anything like that. I would feel these things and I would cut off, and I would start to see how that flow and that synchronicity and that easy sort of next step was unavailable to me. I couldn't see it. I got very confused and like I lost the resource within me, and I did. So to keep connected to our inner resource, we have to keep connected to the belief about who we truly are, which is love, which is light, which is a soul having a human experience.
Body changes. I don't know. The kidneys have moved. I don't know. I heard the same thing about people's fingers being longer. I don't think my hands are no bigger. I always had small hands. But I'm telling you, it ain't true what they say about dudes with small hands.
So how do we do this? What I've discovered, which is so amazing, is that we do this by creating a daily practice that is honoring our true self.
Yes, you should 100% put your videos back up. No doubt. Don't let some hateful comment discourage you from sharing your funny stuff. And I didn't even get to watch. I'd seen you posted some redneck slide or something. I was getting ready to watch it too. I got tied up doing something. And yeah, put your videos back up, man. Don't let one hater, somebody comes up there and says something, hey, block them. That's it. Boop, they're gone. They can't say nothing else.
How do we do that? Every thought that we have is loving. Every negative thing that we see, that we perceive as happening to us, start seeing that it's happening for you. Everything that you think went wrong, start seeing how it could be a gift and actually be going right. Every time you feel rejected or sort of not good enough, or that old pattern of thought comes back in that means you're bad or you're limited in some way or you're not as good as you think you are, it's too good to be true, all of those will come up because the ego likes to play with you. Anytime those come forward, question it. Well, is this true, or is this what I believe to be true?
Well, it wasn't somebody random did it. They didn't just randomly find your video and say you should do that. That was somebody that was in here and was just being hateful. So yeah, I'd put your videos back up. I wouldn't worry about that stuff.
True when I was really young. Is this true, or is this just what people have told me is true? And as soon as you start to really check in with yourself and say, how do I really feel about me? How do I really feel about this thing happening? Is it really happening because of this, or could it be this, this, or this? And we start expanding our mind, expanding our knowing to see that the things we put in place mentally might not be the truth. So we're on this mission to find ultimate truth. We are truth seekers. And as a truth seeker, what I've discovered is the only way to stay in alignment with who you truly are, to stay happy and healthy and abundant and excited, to stay in alignment with the light that we all feel, but we dim it so often, is to really come into the truth of who you are, is to really stay true to that positive, pure positive focus. And everything
Pure
negative
positive
that happens,
focus,
be
people.
like, you know what? This might just be a perception. And I need to shift my perception, and I need to say positive affirmations, and I need to do some meditation, and I need to do really good things for myself. I need to go on a run, drink some green juice, chill out, get away from people that are negative. All these practices will bring more synchronicity. So, the key to creating and maintaining synchronicity in your life, an easy flow, is to stop resisting your truth. And we stop resisting by stop allowing negative thoughts, stop allowing negative people, stop allowing negative limiting beliefs to be your truth. They're not. They're just an idea. They're not the truth. So, once we stop allowing that, we can stand in the light that we are. We can own our truth. We can stand in that and be an example for others to question their own negative beliefs. And sooner or later, you will live completely completely in the flow of the now. I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you enjoyed that. Namaste.
Thank you.
What's a super easy way to tell that your bed is awful? The raw.
I miss that commercial so much. I almost don't even want to skip it.
Thinking Aloud. Conversations on the leading edge of knowledge and discovery with psychologist Jeffrey Mishlove.
Holographic universe. Oh, I just want to throw this out here. All videos we showed tonight, we use for educational or reviewing purposes. All rights belong to the respective owners of them videos. Just like this video we're about to watch. We just use them under the Fair Act right. There you go. That was my protective speech.
Hello and welcome. I'm Jeffrey Mishlove. Today we're going to be exploring the holographic model of reality and its implications for ourselves, our bodies, and the world around us. With me today is Michael Talbot, author of several books including Mysticism and the New Physics, Beyond the Quantum, Your Past Lives, and most recently, The Holographic Universe, as well as 3 novels. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Nice to be with you.
You know, one of the things that you point out in the holographic universe is that this is a model that's been around now for a few decades, but it's really beginning to show its power in explaining many, many areas of personal experience and science at the same time. Can we talk a little bit about how the model developed?
Sure. It was developed by two men, University of London physicist named David Bohm, who was a former protege of Einstein, and a Stanford University neurophysiologist named Carl Pribram. And they worked independently. Pribram was studying memory and found that there's evidence that the brain operates holographically. And Bohm was studying subatomic physics and found that on the subatomic level, the fabric of reality seems to possess properties that are reminiscent of a hologram. So if you put those two ideas together, that our brain seems to be holographic and the universe is holographic, it suggests that maybe it's compelling evidence that the universe may be a kind of hologram, not that it's literally a hologram, but that it's a good metaphor or way of understanding the universe.
Now, when you say it's holographic, what do we mean, really?
That, in a nutshell, that reality may be more plastic and changeable, like an image, than a solid construct, a sort of sticks and stones world. It has a couple of other implications, one of which is that a hologram has an unusual property. If you take a piece of photographic film that has a holographic image encoded in it, that means that you cannot see the image with your naked eye. You have to reconstruct the image, you have to shine a laser through it. So if you have an image of a rose in the film, shine a laser through the rose, you'll get a three-dimensional image of the rose on the other side. You cut that film in half, shine a laser through each piece, you'll get a whole rose out of each piece, which is a very unusual property and sort of boggles the imagination at first. Cut it in 4, you get 4 roses. Cut it in 8, you get 8 roses. So the universe is a hologram. It means, as William Blake said, that quite literally you can find the universe in a grain of sand, that every portion of the universe contains some semblance of the whole universe.
And there's parallel universes. I mean, that's why he's saying you cut the rose up and you're seeing 8 of them. That's like our universe. Bam, bam, bam. They're in a row. And, you know, we've watched stuff on that on the D-Wave computer where they're saying they're talking in different dimensions. That these are just as real as us waking up in the day and drinking a cup of coffee. It's just as real as that.
That's very profound.
Very.
It's mind-boggling, and you know, one of the things that you point out in a footnote of your book that I would like to mention is that this doesn't apply for many of the kinds of holographic images that are popularly sold as pendants and the like that don't require laser light.
Right. Every talk I give, someone comes up and says they cut the hologram in half on their credit card and ruined it and didn't get the effect. And it only applies to those images that you cannot see with the naked eye that you have to reconstruct.
If you were to look at holographic film, it might look like ripples on a pond unless the laser light is shined through it.
Right. There's no decipherable image in the film, and it very much does look like ripples in a pond, like when you drop pebbles into a pond. There are all sorts of little circles.
They're called interference patterns.
Right. The same as when you drop two pebbles in a pond and the ripples crisscross. That is exactly what is in the film. It's the crisscrossing of the laser light that's recorded on the photographic film.
So there's the sense about a hologram that there's two levels. One is this three-dimensional image that's projected, and it can look so real that you want to reach out and touch it. And then the other level are these interference patterns.
Right. That reality in a hologram can manifest in two ways: as a concrete image, or as this sort of indecipherable blur of energy. And an analogy to this is when you're watching Johnny Carson on your television set. That's really, his image is encoded in two ways. One is as the concrete image on the TV set. One is as the blur of radio waves permeating the living room. And if the universe is a hologram of some sense, in some way, it suggests that there may be two very drastically different levels to reality, that the concrete reality we see, you know, when we look at these chairs and at the trees and the clouds and everything like that.
Our bodies.
Are just one way that reality manifests, and that at some deep level there's a level.
Oh, I was just listening to what he said. You know what I'm saying? About the holographic universe and stuff. Sometimes I'll get all into this stuff for like hours and stuff like that. I'll veg out and like binge watch stuff too. I'll nerd out every now and then.
Of reality where everything dissolves into an ocean of energy that is holographically interconnected, where every portion of the universe is contained in every tiny area of the universe.
So that implies that this notion that we go about our everyday lives with thinking of ourselves as separate from each other, and the cup is separate from the coffee that goes in the cup, that these notions are somehow, what would you say, superficial or contradicted at a deeper level?
They're artificial, definitely, and Bohm really stresses this, and it's a very interesting notion, because in our Western way of thinking, we're so attached.
We're going back to the September 23rd event. Okay, we're gonna find out. April 1st.
Attached to the idea that when we come up with a concept like an apple or an electron or whatever, that exists out there, and we forget. It's kind of like fish unaware of the water in which they swim, that the conceptual pigeonholes we use, words, to describe reality, are phenomena inside our head. They're not out there. And most of the time this is a philosophical quibble, but when you get down to quantum physics, and this is one of the reasons that Bohm came up with the holographic idea, it starts to have real effects. And one of those is it's been discovered that if you take two subatomic particles like electrons, that in certain instances, when you do something to one, it will always affect the other, no matter how far apart they are. It's kind of like stories that you've heard of identical twins where when one is hurt, the other feels the pain. And the problem is that we can find no process known to physics that explains how these could be sending a signal back and forth. In fact,
because it would have to be faster than the speed of light.
Instantaneous. It would have to be an instantaneous signal, and Einstein's theory of relativity said you can't have instantaneous signals because it would mean that you could violate the time barrier and conceivably call your grandfather and tell him not to marry your grandmother. And most physicists say, well, this would be just too troubling to incorporate into a rational picture of reality. Bohm explains it in a different way, which is a very interesting way, and he says, if you imagine that you've got an aquarium in which you have a fish swimming, you have a...
Oh, it's no problem, Amanda. I just seen you wrote it, that's why I said something about it. I was reading what you wrote, because I had seen the video. Remember we watched the video on it, and I don't know. I hope not. I got stuff to do. Maybe I should leave on my trip now.
TV camera facing the front of the aquarium, one facing the side of the aquarium, and you have a monitor attached to each camera. Now you also imagine further that you come from a culture that's never seen aquariums, never seen fish, never seen...
Okay, what are you talking about now? What's a VPN so nobody can track you? I know, Josh. VPN helps anyone from tracking you. If I was Jewish, I wouldn't be able to go to heaven unless they removed my tattoos. Oh, good thing I ain't Jewish. Then. Trust me, man. God's going to let me in. That's my homeboy. I'm one with the universe, man. I'm in the know. You know, I'm on the journey. And hopefully time I make it there, I'll have done enough good stuff in life that I shouldn't have a problem. Now, I ain't saying I'm going to be at the front of the line. I'm just hoping, you know, I ain't at the very back. I'm trying to be a good person. I mean, that's all I can do. You know, I'll be like, you know, maybe not in the beginning, but near the end, the later part, I'd be like, God, man, I tried, dude. I really tried. You know, I gave it my best run. I mean, that's all I can do. What more can you ask from somebody than give it your best shot?
Monitors or cameras, all you are privy to is the two images on these screens. He says that maybe, you know, if you look at these two screens, you're going to see a fish a side view of a fish and a frontal view of a fish. And because you don't know what the deeper reality is, the reality of the aquarium, you may assume that these are two separate things. But
two different fish.
Two different fish, two different objects. But every time one fish moves, the other is going to make a corresponding movement. And you may then jump to the conclusion that somehow the one fish is signaling the other or communicating the other to say, hey, do this, instantaneously. And Bohm says this is what we've done with subatomic particles, that we assume that an instantaneous communication is going on when that's not really what's going on at all. At a deeper level, a very holographic level of reality, every particle in the universe collapses to a sort of cosmic unity. They're not signaling each other. They're like that fish where there's the level of the aquarium. And so what that means, talking about words, is that there is no separation between electrons. Furthermore, there's no separation between people. And this has all kinds of very boggling implications, one of which is that we've always tried to understand, for example, psychic phenomena, like how could I get information out of your head in my head, as some sort of signal going back and forth. But if we're organized, if we live in a universe that's organized holographically, you no longer have to tackle it that way. It could be that I have the entire universe and every neuron, every cell, every atom, every electron in my head, and you do also. So when we can access that, we can access information that seems to be beyond our normal sensory reach.
Well, you know, I'm very interested in psychic phenomenon, and I know you've had many personal experiences, and I want to touch on it, but this is not a model that was developed in order to explain psychic phenomenon. I think to neuropsychologists like Carl Pribram, the fact that it happens to provide an explanation for psychic phenomena is almost a bit of an embarrassment, that he developed the holographic model because he was trying to come to terms with memory.
Right.
So let's talk about that.
Sure. Pribram was working under a very famous neurophysiologist named Carl Lashley, and it was at a time when it was believed that memory was stored in a specific spot in the brain, and there was something called the proverbial grandmother cell, that there was literally a cell in your brain that contained the memory of your grandmother, of what you knew about your grandmother. And so they did a rather gruesome series of experiments for animal lovers, but it came out with some very profound information. They took rats and they taught them how to run mazes. And then they would surgically remove various portions of the brain, Pribram and his mentor, Carl Lashley. The reasoning being that if they could remove a portion of the brain and the rat could no longer run the maze, they'd found the area of the brain where the rat's memory of the maze running ability was encoded. Now, every time they removed a different portion of the brain, they discovered that they could never remove the memory of how to run the maze. They could impair the rat's ability so it might limp through the maze, but they couldn't remove it. And really, surgeons had known this for a while, doctors had known this for a while, because when people have head injuries, they don't forget half of the alphabet or half of their family or half of a novel they've read. They have global memory impairment where their entire memory may be hazy. But memories don't seem to be stored in our heads in the same way that books are stored on a shelf. And it wasn't until the 60s when Pribram encountered the holographic model that says that the whole is contained in every part that he said, aha, this may be what's going on in the brain. Specifically, because a hologram is made out of interference patterns, the hologram that you see, that we talked about earlier is made out of the interference pattern of laser light, but it can be made out of the interference patterns of any kind of energy, electromagnetic energy, electricity, X-rays even. And so Pribram said, since our synapses are constantly giving off electrical impulses, these are like proverbial pebbles dropping into the sort of electromagnetic.
Yeah, guys, I'm probably going to be up here another 10 minutes with you guys. I'm probably going to jump off about 2. So, I've been up here with y'all a good 4 hours tonight. Let's see, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 hours. So yeah, I'm gonna jump off in about 10 minutes or so. We're gonna keep going with this. I'm kind of interested in what this guy's saying now.
Pool of our brain, they're sending out ripples that are constantly crisscrossing. And he believes that's what the brain hologram, that's how we think and how we remember is through that hologram inside the head.
It would apply in another sense too, because if you take a hologram image and cut it in half or in quarters or in tenths, each time you reduce it in size, the image becomes fuzzier and fuzzier, even though the whole image is there, just the way memory would seem to be. And
it becomes fuzzier when you have portions of the brain removed.
Yeah.
Correct.
And Pribram then also noticed that the same principle applied for visual information processing.
Well, yes, it's very interesting. He did not make the discovery, but he came upon the research done by other investigators. And that is another very interesting thing. As you know, Mother Nature uses all kinds of mathematical languages. That when we go to understand physical phenomena, we generally find that there's some sort of mathematical underpinning to whatever the phenomena is. There are uncountable mathematical languages. It turns out that the mathematical language involved in the making of a hologram is a system of mathematics developed by a French man named Fourier. They're called Fourier transforms. Well, it also turns out that our brain uses Fourier transforms to translate visual information. And this is a very unusual state of affairs. It's kind of like discovering Eskimos speaking Spanish. You know, it's not proof that the brain is a hologram, but it's suggestive that the brain is a hologram. And it turns out, in fact, all of our senses appear to rely on sort of Fourier transforms, that they all seem to use the same mathematics. So again, here's evidence that the brain uses the same mathematics to decipher the sensory world as are involved in the making of a hologram, which is, as I say, not proof, but compelling evidence that something is going on there.
Well, what this seems to suggest is a new way of looking at consciousness itself.
Very much so, yeah. It's an interesting thing. I have to say that I differ a little with Pribram, because Pribram thinks that the brain, you know, as I said, that it's the electrical interference patterns in the brain. It is a brain hologram. I'm kind of a mystic because, you know, at a young age I had an out-of-body experience where I left my body, and it became quite apparent to me while I was having this experience that I was thinking, but my brain was back in my body, which I could see in my bed. I knew it wasn't just a dream because I floated out over the ground outside my family's house, and I saw a book lying on the ground, and it was a book by the French short story writer Guy de Maupassant. And the next day, a neighbor said, "By the way, Michael, I lost a library book by Guy de Maupassant. Have you seen it?" And I thought, well, I floated over it last night. I didn't tell the neighbor that, but there was the book. And
that's crazy.
I was always I'm still very scientifically oriented. I want to understand the world in scientific terms.
Magnum PI.
It was really the first time that I sort of had to confront, you know, the difference between my spiritual beliefs that we can survive, you know, our bodily death, and this deeply held belief, scientific belief of mine that it's the brain that's doing the thinking. And I realized I had a kind of epiphany where I thought it isn't the brain that's doing the thinking. So I am not entirely certain that it's just the electromagnetic interference patterns that is the brain hologram, because those obviously would perish when the brain perishes. I think there might be some subtler level, some subtler energy that we haven't discovered.
I used to collect cards back in the day, Josh. I used to have all kind of box sets, the flare ones. I had all kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff got burned up or destroyed.
With our technology that's involved in this also.
Well, Bohm's model is relevant and interesting at this point because he's not dealing with the universe as a hologram made out of electromagnetic interference patterns. He's looking at quantum wave potentials, which are at a much deeper level. And I must say, I've heard Pribram discuss it much the same way. They're
I used to have a bunch of Jose Canseco rookie cards, Michael Jordan rookie cards, all that.
Quantum wave potentials in the brain itself, which is a much more deeply embedded level of energy and matter than the electromagnetic level.
Right. Bohm, it's a funny thing in science. The great physicist Hermann Bondi called it the lure of completeness, that we tend, when we find some sort of outermost perimeter to what we can measure, we assume there's nothing beyond it. And I refer to it, it's kind of like you know, in ancient times when we only knew a certain portion of the world, people always seem to say beyond the edge of the map there be monsters, that there was nothing there. And the same thing is going on in physics, that we have, with our technology, reached down to a certain level in reality, and it's a common prejudice among many physicists that beyond that level, nothing exists. There be monsters. There's just a void. Yeah. And it's an interesting thing that we, as I say, we have to have this lure of completeness. We have to feel that our knowledge of the universe is all that exists in the universe. Bohm, I think, is very wisely is one of the few physicists who comes out and kind of says the emperor has no clothes. Says what rational basis to it's just prejudice that we assume nothing exists beyond this level of reality. And he feels that there are all kinds of domains of reality beyond this level, this microscopic level, and he theorizes that there may be untold, uncountable, subtler energies in these levels. The quantum potential is one. It's a theorized field that has not been measured or discovered with science, but Bohm feels there's evidence to posit its existence.
And it's now rather well accepted, I understand, among quantum physicists.
I wouldn't say that. No, it's pretty controversial, and the reason it's controversial is because the standard explanation of quantum physics has decided that this lure of completeness, that there's nothing beyond. You know, the Danish physicist Niels Bohr, who's one of the founder of quantum physics, basically said you get down to a certain level of reality and things become blurry and you can't know anymore. And Bohm takes a very different route, which at this point is very sort of looked down upon by a lot of physicists, because most have been schooled in the way of Bohr's thinking.
Yes.
And Bohm, the quantum potential is not looked upon kindly by most physicists, I would say.
Well, I don't think we want to get into too technical a discussion of quantum physics at the moment, but I do think it's important to bring up the uncertainty principle, because in a way it's where physics comes full circle. And as I understand it, physics are saying, well, there may be all kinds of stuff, but we'll never know it because we interact with it. Anytime we attempt to look at particles beyond a certain level, the very act of observation changes things, and that brings us to a point where we realize that the distinction between subject and object breaks down.
Right. But physicists get very funny about it. They get kind of schizophrenic because they'll openly admit that subject and object breaks down there, but they say that somehow this has no effect in the real world. This does not translate from the microscopic level to our level, although there is a sort of creeping
$6 million man
evidence
hero.
in the scientific world that it does translate into our level. One obvious example, I think, that it translates into our level is that helium cannot be frozen solid. You can freeze hydrogen solid, you can freeze carbon dioxide solid, but helium, for helium to become its atoms to align in a solid form would violate the uncertainty principle, and nature doesn't seem to allow that. So you can't, no matter how cold helium gets, it remains a liquid. That, to me, if you can have a beaker full of liquid helium, and that exists at our level of existence, and it's a sort of manifestation of the uncertainty principle, and it's where it's sort of slipped over into our world. There are other things going on right now where there's a device called a squid, which is a sort of electrical coil in which it looks like we may be able to demonstrate that the current, if you say which direction is the current going in the coil, it's going both directions at once, which is kind of an impossibility, but to simultaneously do that, that too is a quantum phenomenon, that these two realities are overlapping. So I think we will cross that barrier.
Well, I must admit, Michael, I'm not sure that I totally grasp the implications of those examples, but the examples I would like to focus on that do seem more relevant are the ones that suggest the enormous ability of the mind to affect systems in the body, the placebo effect, the work with healing and visualization.
Well, this gets away from Bowman into Pribram, but it's equally interesting with equally profound implications. Pribram, as I said, says that we're thinking with holograms inside our head, and that out there exists something that's more akin to the radio waves in the room from which your TV gets the image. So in essence, we're kind of conscious TV sets. And what we think is reality when we look out here is really just the image on the TV set inside our mind, but doesn't exist out there. And Pribram says this is why there's all kinds of evidence that we seem to respond more to the models of reality in our head than out there. In the holographic universe, I give an example of a psychologist who did a study where he took soldiers and marched them all the same distance, but he told some they marched, like he'd march them all 30 miles or 20 miles, but told some they marched 10, some they marched 20, some they marched 30. But they all marched the same distance. At the end, he took physiological readings and discovered that physiologically they responded not to the actual mileage that they had marched, but to what they had been told, the model of reality that they assumed they had, the reality in their heads. And in medicine, people have used this application of the holographic idea that we respond to the model of reality to say this may be why we respond more to the placebos, to fake drugs. There's a very famous example of a fellow who had lymphatic cancer, tumors the size of oranges all throughout his body. His doctor basically thought he had about 3 days left to live. The fellow heard about a new drug called Crebiozin and said, "You've got to give this to me." And the doctor said, "Well, frankly, you know, I don't think you have long to live, and this drug takes several weeks to take effect." The man implored him, and the doctor gave in sort of as an act of pity. He gave the man Crebiozin, and 3 days later, the man's tumors melted, as the doctor put it, like snowballs in a hot stove, completely gone out of his body, faster than the strongest radiation treatment could have melted them away. The man is up and around, walking around his hospital room, resumes his normal life, seems to be completely cancer-free. Several months down the line, he reads an article saying Crebiozin isn't that effective. Boom, 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 all his tumors come back. He's back in the hospital. The doctor starts to realize that maybe it wasn't the drug that cured the man, but the man's belief. So he lies to the man and he says, "Those articles are wrong. Crebiozin is effective, and in fact, I've got an even more potent version of it." He injects just salt water into the man's veins. Again, the man's tumors melt away. He resumes his normal life. Unfortunately, many months down the line, he reads final studies on Crebiozin saying it's completely ineffective. Boom, 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 his tumors come back and he dies. But the bottom line is somehow this man had the ability to access some deep level of healing himself. It wasn't the drug, because salt water worked just as well as this alleged drug.
All right, Amanda, take it easy.
And so again, here's an instance where he responded to the model of reality in his head, this deep belief that this drug would heal him, even though he wasn't even receiving the drug at a certain point in his treatment. And his body responded in kind. And that, to me, is the most exciting aspect of the holographic idea. And there are countless examples of it. There's a study of a new chemotherapy in England where they took a group of cancer patients. Half the patients they gave the drug, half the patients they gave a placebo, a fake. No one knew who was receiving the real drug or not. They told all the patients, this is a very toxic drug, may cause you to lose your hair. 30% of the people receiving just the fake lost their hair.
That's
and
nuts.
When I first heard this, I immediately thought, oh my gosh, about every donut that I'd ever eaten in my life, and thought, oh, this is really bad for me. That I may be responding to the model of reality more than you know, the nutritional aspects of the donut.
Well, I think the stories of this kind have been known to scientists for hundreds of years, but they've kind of been dismissed because scientists haven't had a good way to look at the possibility that consciousness can affect physical systems. We think of consciousness as an epiphenomenon.
Right.
But if one considers that there are standing waves, interference patterns in the brain, holographic images, it gives consciousness I hate to use the term mechanism because I don't think that's quite the right term, but it gives people a model in which they can begin to appreciate more the role of consciousness.
That's true, and it can be applied in another way, because if the universe is organized holographically, we've always believed, you know, that there is no connection between the brain and the body, and of course, I mean, for most of the history of medical science in the West. In the past couple of decades, we're starting to say there's a connection, and we're sorting out certain pathways, you know, the neuropeptide systems, that sort of thing. But if the holographic model is correct, there are so many interconnections between the brain and the body, there ceases to be a division. So it becomes almost a moot point to say, what is the pathway? How is the brain connected to the body? Because there's no difference, just like there's no difference between those two electrons.
Well, and to take it a step further, as you do, one might say there's no solid, clear-cut distinction between ourselves and the rest of the whole universe. I mean, this has profound implications for spiritual experiences, of which you've had quite a number, and perhaps in the time remaining we should touch on more of those.
Yeah, very much so. As I said, I've always been very interested in science, but I also grew up in with a lot of very unusual experiences, not the least of which is that I grew up in a house with a poltergeist haunting. So I had all kinds of examples of psychokinesis, of objects moving about on their own when I was growing up. And it really was a strange, in the sense that for me it was normal, and I had to learn that it was abnormal, and rather painful learning. And as I grew up, and my friends would find it very strange that these things would occur. And one of the things that Bohm says, because Bohm addresses the topic of psychokinesis, is again, we don't, you know, we may be mistaken to try to approach psychokinesis by saying what energy is leaving the brain to move the object. because, as Bohm says, there's no division between the objects.
Psychokinesis means mind over matter.
Right, moving the objects was just the power of thought alone. That we are as connected to that object as borderless, we're a continuum with the object as the patterns in a carpet. So for us to move the object may be, Bohm says, just an act of resonance, of realizing that there's no division between us.
I don't know if that's true or not. I've heard the same thing. That might be urban legend,
about the
Tina.
issue of life after death or spiritual experiences of other realities.
Yeah, that's one of the areas you had mentioned earlier, that one of the exciting things about the holographic idea is that people have taken this and explored all different realms. You know, that some have used it to say this is how acupuncture works, because it turns out that there are little micro acupuncture systems where you can find the entire body in the acupuncture points of the ear.
Recapitulated in, in the ear, yes.
Right. So we've talked about the placebo effect. Some have said that the holographic idea applies in near-death experiences. One of these individuals is Kenneth Ring, who is at the University of Connecticut, studies near-death experiences. And it's interesting because in report after report of people who have been declared clinically dead, you know, go to some apparent other level of reality and then come back, they refer to this other level of reality with terms like frequency and energy and even hologram, that it's a more plastic level of reality where thought seems to create things instantly. There are instances of people having near-death experiences where they think they're hungry and instantly food appears. Or perhaps an even better example, when people find themselves out of their body, there are cases where people look down and see that they're in a naked body and they go, oh my gosh, I'm naked. Instantly they have clothing on. Now we don't assume that clothing has a soul, you know, that it has a spirit that survives. So somehow it appears that the mind can sort of pull out of this ocean of frequency a hologram of clothing. And this is what Ken Ring says, is that we're entering deeper into the hologram when we have near-death experiences, when we leave our bodies.
So there's so many different areas that have kind of been at the fringes of our understanding that we can now begin to look at with new eyes. Michael Talbot.
I've never heard, I mean, I've heard it,
It's
but I
been a
didn't know it
pleasure
was
to
true.
have you with me. And for those of you watching, you may be interested in knowing that this discussion will be part of a Thinking Aloud Inner Work videotape available along with an additional hour of discussion going deeper into these questions.
Okay, that was pretty good. All right, guys. Like I said, I'm about going to wrap it up, and you melt the bottom of the cup. Oh, Lord. I'm not trying to have to do that anytime soon, and I don't think I should anytime soon, so I ain't even worried about that. Okay, great. She's on to the same stuff, and see the synchronicity and things, guys. So then I should have a lot to talk to her about, because I'm going through a lot of these things. And if she talks about these things, she's probably more knowledgeable on it than I am. So yeah, she'd probably be great to talk to. I got to email her back, too. I got to do that at some point. And I need to write Jason, too. I got to get to that. So let me cue my music like I always do. And it's been fun tonight, guys. I'm getting tired. I'm getting old.
Check, check.
Good night, guys.
Hey, yo, Mandela effect. I think I seen a UFO. What? It's the Jimmy Jam show. Mandela effect. I think I seen a UFO. It's the Jimmy Jam show. It's the Jimmy Jam show. It's the Jimmy Jam show. Conspiracy. It's the Jimmy Jam show. It's the Jimmy Jam show. It's the Jimmy Jam show. What? I think I seen a UFO.
Alright, guys. It's been real and it's been fun. I'll see y'all tomorrow. If I can get on in the afternoon, I might do a little afternoon run. But if not, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have fun. Be safe. Get you some rest. And I hope you have a good reality. There you go. I know I torture you guys tonight with all this synchronicity stuff for like 3 straight hours. But I appreciate you guys toughing it out with me. Good night, guys.